Council of candidates for the position of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. For interview this afternoon, Your Honors, are the following. Judge Elma M. Rafalio Lingan, a candidate for Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. And Judge Sinon Voltaire B. Repoglio, a candidate for Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals. The first to be interviewed will be Judge Rafalio Lingan, and the first to interview the candidate. May I request the candidates to please raise your right hand so that I can administer the oath? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public panel interview by the Judicial and Bar Council?
Yes, I did.
So help you God. First for interview, Your Honors, will be Judge Elma M. Rafalio Lingan. And the first to interview her is the Honorable Judge Franklin J. De Monteverde. Judge De Monteverde, sir.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Judge Rafalio Lingan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, loud and clear. I can hear you.
Okay. You are applying for the Court of Appeals, Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which among the three is your preference?
The Court of Appeals, Your Honor.
Court of Appeals?
Yes.
And the second would be, of course, Sandigan Bayan.
CTA.
CTA. Okay. Sige. Parang ninenervyos ka yata.
Yes, sir, I am.
Is this your first time to apply for the Appellate Court?
Yes po.
Relax lang. Sige. Now, Judge, you are the presiding judge of the RTC Branch 159 Pasig City.
Yes, sir.
And for how long have you been there?
For 5 years and 7 months, sir.
So you were appointed there sometime
April
in 2014?
2015. 2015.
2015. Now, yung caseload mo, ilan?
Right now, sir, I have about
Right now.
105.
105 as of today.
Yes, sir.
And okay. When you were appointed there, what was the docket that time?
I think if I remember it right, I think it was a little less than 500, sir.
500. Okay. Now, I was going over your records and I have noticed that all your legal life, prior to your appointment as a judge, you were with the OSG.
Yes, sir.
What specifically was your duty there?
Sir, at the time when I left the OSG, when I was appointed to the judiciary, I've been I was the acting officer in charge most of the time when the supervising assistant solicitor general is on leave of absence, and also I would supervise and edit the works of 10 lawyers belonging to the division, and also I would be representing I would be hearing cases before the Sandigan Bayan and also argue before the Court of Appeals, and I also had a chance to be part of an oral argument before the Supreme Court and Bank twice or thrice during the time that I was a senior state solicitor, and I was a member of many different task forces, including the Social Security System, the PCGG, the Privatization and Management Office, the Department of Health, and what else? I think that's it.
Okay. When did you pass the bar?
In 1996, sir.
96. Okay. I was going over your academic records and I noticed that your pre-law was nursing,
No, sir.
BS. Huh?
No,
What?
sir. My pre-law actually is Bachelor of Music and AB English. The
It's
nursing
not.
I took,
It's not reflected here.
yes, sir.
Okay, how come?
Sir, my first love is music. So I I
Hindi,
was
yung music mo, bakit hindi na isama rito sa credentials mo?
I don't know, so it's included, so I included it there, sir.
Music?
Yes, sir.
Wala,
Bachelor of Music major in music education.
wala rito sa kwan ko sa records. Baka
That's the
nasa
sir,
PDS.
that's
Ah,
the first one, and then the second one is Bachelor of Arts major in English, and then
ganun.
yes, sir.
Ah.
Before I took up law.
Yung as a registered nurse. Hindi
Nursing
ka,
there, I was already in the office of the Solicitor General when I took up my nursing, sir.
oh, I see. So you're fond of going to school, huh?
Yes, sir. I love I love studying.
I can see you right now. Your picture does not appear.
Oh, I
Judge,
want
can you start the video in your primary device, please?
okay.
You sent a request.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, sige. Another thing that caught my eye was this sentence that you passed nursing licensure exam in California, USA.
Yes, sir.
How did you take it?
Sir, I went there.
Did you stay long in the United States?
No, sir. I went there before the exam.
Just for the
Yes,
exams
sir.
you went there.
Yes, sir. Just for the exam. I took it in San Diego, California.
Oh, I see. Okay. How about this Masters of Law, wherein you graduate cum laude at the Netherlands, Utrecht University? Did you actually take it there
Yes, sir. I was there for a year.
for a
2009.
year only?
From
Okay.
2009 to 2010. It was a compact program, sir.
Okay. And how did you fare in your Masters of Law?
Sir, well, like I said, I graduated cum laude with honors, and I was able to. I think I was the first student to take up 12 modules.
Okay. Now, since this is your first time to apply for the appellate court, kindly give us an insight into your academic records from your elementary schooling up to college.
Sir, as a student, I've been a very diligent student. I love, like I said, as you can see from the many courses that I finished, I really love studying. I love reading.
Mhm.
I love challenges. I think I have an insatiable thirst for learning new things. I am into all sorts of things, from arts to music and to different other things, many other different things. And I was an honor student in my elementary, and I was also an honor student, although I did not graduate as an valedictorian or salutatorian for some reasons. And then when I was in my college, I was a dean's lister when I was in the College of Law. And even the time when I was taking up my music, I was also in the top 10 or top 5 of my class.
Mhm. Okay. Now, going to your medical condition, you were certified to be physically and mentally fit,
Yes, sir.
and no records whatsoever appeared that you have some ailments. So, congratulations.
So I do have some minor ailments,
Oh, what are those minor ailments?
considering my age.
You're a diabetic? You're a diabetic?
No, sir, not yet. But
Ah,
diabetes
not
runs
yet.
it runs in the family. So I have to take care of my blood sugar. I have Meniere's disease, sir. I have Meniere's disease.
What's that?
Meniere's disease. It has something
What's
to
that
do.
Meniere's disease?
It has something to do with hearing.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Probably because of my being a musician, and it has something to do also with vertigo, balance. That's why I have to take anti-vertigo medications from time
What
to time.
kind of music do you play?
I play all
with?
kinds of music, sir, from classical, jazz.
Including trombone?
No, sir. I play the. It's a difficult instrument, sir. I do not have the lungs for it. I play the violin, the piano, the
The flute,
viola, the guitar. So
harp.
I did. Oh, sorry. Harp is a difficult instrument, sir.
Okay.
I took up voice as my minor instrument.
Okay. Now, you listed several credentials, in fact, numerous of them, among which is that you finished 4 bachelor degrees in different fields and 2 masteral degrees. Tell us about this, how you were able to finish all these courses.
So I never stopped. Since I started elementary, I never stopped studying. After I finished my Bachelor of Music 6 years, and that was 6 years, I immediately enrolled in Bachelor of Arts, major in English. And then immediately after the Bachelor of Arts in English, I took up law. While all this time I was studying, I was working as well. And then after law, I and then I got into the OSG. And then after law, I enrolled into nursing because I wanted to be a legal nurse then. And after legal nursing, when I was at the OSG, I was given a chance to take this opportunity of this scholarship in Netherlands. And I grabbed the opportunity, so I finished my master's. And then after that, I took my master's in National Security and Administration in 2013 when I graduated and received the prestigious leadership award. And also after my master's in National Security Administration, I again took another course, the General Staff and Procedure course, where I graduated with where I received an award of academic excellence.
All of these credentials or these degrees were taken by you up to what age? At what age?
I was, sir, the last was when I was already in my 50s, late mid 50s, sir.
Mid 50s.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You are married with how many children?
Just only one child, sir. I'm
And
married.
how old is he?
He is already 33.
Okay. Is your husband working in the
No,
government?
no, sir. He used to be a businessman, but he had a stroke, and
Uh,
which rendered him paralyzed. Paralyzed.
how old is he now?
He's 61.
61. Okay. So you file yourself an individually na kasi wala na yung
Yes, sir.
hindi na working yung husband.
No, sir. No, sir.
And I assume na complete ka for the
Yes,
past 10 years.
yes, sir. I
Salad.
am. Yes, sir. I am.
Now in your PDS you also wrote, I also love my country so much. Hence the reason why I want to be a part of the judiciary where I can effect positive changes in my own little way. How can you effect these changes?
Well,
Cite
sir.
at least one.
Okay, sir. One change I think is that I would like to change the perception of many people in our justice system, especially those from the poor, because, sir, as a musician,
How is that, Judge?
I
Medyo
think,
choppy ka.
okay, sir, I'm sorry. Sir, because as a musician and as a lawyer as well, I think I'm able to make use of my fully developed right brain, where I can use my high emotional intelligence and empathy, where I can see things from a different perspective, from the overall perspective.
Choppy.
Is it still choppy, sir? Okay, sir. Is it okay now? Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Hindi pa, medyo choppy pa. Choppy pa ng konti, Judge.
Okay, sir.
Judge, can you hear me po?
Choppy pa po ba?
Judge De Monteverde.
I'm still waiting for you.
Okay. Probably I can change my to a headset, sir. O choppy pa rin po ba?
Okay, sige.
Okay. Sir, like I said, I can
Medyo okay na ng konti.
okay na po. Okay. So, sir, like I said, I see things from
May-
from
sige.
a different perspective as an artist because I have an high emotional intelligence, and I have um, great empathy for people, especially those who are underprivileged. And I believe I can, and I would like also to change the perception of many people in our justice system, and more particularly in the disposition of cases. I want cases to be resolved immediately, as, as speedy as possible, and effectively as possible, so that there will be no waste of time, no waste of money, no waste on no waste on any other resources.
Okay. Now, cite one decision that you penned which shows your love for our country.
Well, sure, in many decisions that I pen, I think it's reflected in many decisions that I have. In one decision where I think there's one decision where I granted a TRO because the case involves the operation of a big hospital in Metro Manila, and it would disrupt the operation of the hospital, which would affect many people. And I
Putol-putol ka, Judge. Hindi ko masyado makuha yung sinasabi mo.
okay po, probably I have to keep still. I have to keep still, Judge. Okay po. Medyo malikot po ako.
Sige.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Sige.
May pagkakiti-kiti po ako.
Hindi, para mawala rin yung pagka-nervyos mo.
Balikot po talaga ako. May kiti-kiti po talaga ako. So, okay na po to. Sir, can you hear me clearly now?
Sige.
Okay.
Okay,
That's it,
very
sir.
clear now.
So that's it, sir. Well, I
Okay.
always see to it that what the my decision will work best to the general to the majority, sir, to the general welfare of the people.
Okay. Now, you listed 3 cases where you inhibited from hearing,
Yes, sir.
from hearing them.
Yes, sir.
Briefly tell us about this and why you inhibited from
Well,
those
sir,
cases.
okay, these cases, sir, are mostly commercial cases. And these cases, sir, do not only involve one case. There are some cases like a commercial case where there are several related commercial cases, like one particular case, all similar defendants, similar plaintiffs, about 4 or 5 cases, all be filed before my court. And these are the nature of the cases filed before me as a commercial court and a family court. And I have to inhibit myself because I do not want to stain the integrity, and I do not want to give anyone reason to doubt the integrity of the court and also my decision. I think it would work
Okay.
best to the case rather than stay and hold
Okay,
on.
Judge.
Okay.
Sige. Now,
Yes,
one
sir.
of the cases being followed by the public today is about an online news network and its CEO for alleged violation of the Securities and Regulation Code.
Yes, sir.
Netizens had given various comments and remarks, positive and negative as well, as to how the judiciary can decide on this case. Now,
Yes,
do you
sir.
think this had affected your career?
No, sir. But sir, can I say something about that case? I think that
Yes.
that might be one case that I'm handling right now.
Okay, go ahead. It's still up for decision?
Yes,
Still
sir.
up for decision?
It has not
So,
started.
okay.
It has not started yet, sir.
Wala pa. Sige. Let's skip it. Now, do judges have an obligation to improve public understanding of the courts? And if so, how should they carry out that obligation?
I think, sir, it's one of the duties of the judges. It's one of the obligations of the judges to the court, to the public. They should make the
Okay.
public feel that the court does not look into the personalities, the court looks into the merits of every case regardless whoever are involved, whoever are the litigants, whoever are the counsel for the parties, which I always do in my court. I don't care about the personalities. I don't look into the counsels. I don't, even if I know that this counsel appearing before me before commercial courts are all counsels from all these big law firms. I really don't care about them. I do not know them. I do not want to know them.
Okay. Okay. Now let's go to constitutional and political doctrines, some of them, about two or three, and then I'll let you go.
Oh,
What do you
constitutional
understand by the archipelagic doctrine?
archipelagic doctrine. Sure, I think the Philippines is an
Archipelagic doctrine.
yes, it's a doctrine which speaks of the Philippines as an archipelago consisting of islands and waters around, between, and surrounding it.
Well, that's a substantial answer.
Yes, sir.
Uh, inclu- uh-huh. Including
Including those
everything that is being
everything, yes, sir. Internal
encircled
waters, yes,
by an
encircled,
imaginary line.
imaginary line, sir. The baseline theory, sir. Under the baseline theory, where the lines are the end lines are interconnected, that would enclose the whole
Now,
archipelago.
under doctrine of effective occupation, how can title be vested?
Doctrine of effective occupation, sir. Actually, I'll be honest, I don't remember
Occupation.
effective occupation, but can I make a wild guess, sir? I think effective, it can best title, sir,
Uh-huh.
because of continuous possession, sir. Uninterrupted, without any opposition from anyone, or from
It,
um
it
the
has relation, it has the effect coming out from a discovery.
okay, sir. From
And
discovery of
discovery is not merely something that can vest title to a person or to a state, but something has to be done first. Yet, no?
yes, sir.
Sige.
Thank you, sir.
Now, have you come across the Thalweg doctrine?
Talweg doctrine. I'll be honest, sir, I have not. Is it a constitutional law
Yeah.
doctrine, sir?
Yes, yes, and as a political din yan.
Political. I don't.
Wala, hindi mo pa.
I don't remember, sir. I don't remember, sir. I think I need to
Hindi.
know that, sir.
Sige. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sige. That was my last question, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for the time. And good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Judge De Monteverde. Next to
Attorney
interview.
Sally?
Yes, thank you, Judge De Monteverde. Hello? Hello?
Go
Hello?
ahead, Attorney Tally.
Thank you, Honorable Judge De Monteverde. Next to interview the candidate is Honorable Justice Noel Menes Tiham.
Thank you, Attorney Tally.
You're welcome, Justice.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Justice.
Okay, you are recommended by Justice Audrey Peralta. Were you colleagues in the OSG before?
I was under her tutelage, sir. She was my boss when I was at the OSG.
All right. I don't know what questions to ask you. You went to the Netherlands.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me who is the father of the modern science of international law?
I'm sorry, sir. I cannot answer. I cannot give you the answer. I do not know the father of modern science of international.
You never saw his monument in Delft? Have you been to Delft in the Netherlands?
Yes, sir. I've been to Delft. I've been to Hague. I've been to some part in Netherlands.
Did you see Joma season in Utrecht when you were
Yes,
there?
sir. Actually, I was able to meet him personally, and I was able to jam with him. I think that during that time, it was the birthday of his wife, and I was there. I was invited by a member from the choir, which I met, a Filipino, and I don't know anything about. I'm sorry, sir. I think being an artist, it makes me also an autistic person. Although I know Joe Masison, I hear his name most of the time, but I don't really know. I know that he is a member of the TPP NPA, but I do not know anything other than that. I do not know anything more about him. And then I was invited to this birthday, and it turned out that it was the birthday of the wife of Joe Masison, and I was asked to bring my violin, and he sang some songs for his wife, and I was so scared because I was then with the OSG, and I was also an officer of the military of the AFP Reserve Command, and I do not want to be seen in his company. And I also had the chance to talk with a certain person who turned out to be Alandoni.
Anyway, you made that disclosure in public.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I'm, I'm just being, I'm sorry, sir. I'm just being honest, sir.
Of course. What do
It's,
you understand, Judge, by have you heard about this? A sui generis decision. What is a sui
well,
generis?
it's a unique, sir. It's a one of a kind decision. It is something that is not of the ordinary. It is something that cannot be compared to the rest of the other decisions, but it's one of a kind.
Can it be invoked as precedents?
Sir, say it again, please.
Can it be invoked as precedents?
Presidents, I believe so, sir. Yes.
Even if it is sui generis?
Yes, sir.
It was reported in the news that last week the United States withdrew from the Treaty of Open Skies Treaty. In international law, this has something to do with nuclear disarmament. Do you have any idea what it means? The Treaty of Open Skies?
City of Open Skies. I believe, sir, it is something to do with the use or privilege of allowing the foreign countries from using the um, the skies within the jurisdiction of America.
You are defining what is known as open skies policy. It is
I'm sorry,
different.
sir.
It is different from a treaty of open skies. So can you explain again the meaning of open skies policy?
Open skies policy, sir, when
Uh,
all
that is the one adopted in civil aviation. Okay, can you explain to me?
Uh, uh, okay, sir. Open sky policy is when a particular country, which has jurisdiction over, of course, over its atmosphere or the skies that what forms part of its territory, can allow the use of other foreign countries of aircrafts, air carriers, for its use subject to certain limitations, sir.
So it's a liberalization of airspace, and the purpose is to enhance cooperation or promote tourism.
Yes, sir. Promote tourism, sir. Yes.
The the ASEAN countries, they have an open sky policy. We can fly to the other ASEAN countries, and by way of reciprocity, they also can fly to the Philippines. Anyway, the Treaty of Open Skies is different from the policy of open skies. You just research on the Treaty of
Okay.
Open Skies. This has reference to nuclear disarmament.
Thank you, sir. I will, sir.
What is your understanding, Judge, of judicial review?
Judicial review, sir, it's the authority of the court as part that's provided under the Constitution. It has the power of judicial review when there's an actual controversy to be settled. That is the power that, and this power of judicial review has been expanded under the 1987 Constitution, when it included that the Supreme Court, and it provided that the Supreme Court cannot only take cognizance of judicial controversies or those that are non-political questions, but also political questions, as long as there is grave abuse of discretion. That is the expanded judicial review of the Supreme Court as provided under the 1987 Constitution.
What about judicial activism? What do you understand by it?
Judicial activism, sir, I think is deciding on a matter that does not only that would consider, uh, sir, it's something of, how do I say it? It's more of a liberal approach of judicial review, sir.
And what do you think is the purpose of judicial activism? Why are some judges judicial activists? What do you think is the purpose?
I think, sir, when it would serve the very reason why we are here for, that is the dispensation of administration of justice. I think there are times when we do have to veer away from the usual course of that we learned, the traditional way. There are times when we really have to be more flexible and able to dispense justice, to be able to resolve an issue or to come up with a decision that is not only fair and equitable, but is the one that is more suited under the situation, sir.
Is judicial activism designed to court popular acceptance or public acceptance?
In a way, sir. In a way, sir, because there are some decisions where the court sometimes under pressure, because under pain of being criticized for its decision, because there are some decisions which are really unpopular. And so the court also has to take a look or to take it from the different perspective on how the public would view the decision, as long as the decision is in accordance with law and jurisprudence. Um, it could it could resolve a particular case uh, through judicial activism, sir.
What about on the other side of the spectrum is judicial restraint? What is your understanding of judicial restraint?
Judicial restraint is when the court has uh, to take some control in the exercise of its judicial power, sir.
There are 39 petitions filed before the Supreme Court questioning the constitutionality of the anti-terror law. In your opinion, I'm just asking your opinion, there are no right and wrong answers.
Yes, sir.
Are these petitions ripe for judicial review?
Uh, Sir, I believe no.
Can you give me the reason why you think not?
Sir, I believe no, because the law has not been, although it's already been approved and it's already effective, but I think I believe there's a TRO. I'm not so sure about it, sir. If there's a TRO, but the public has yet to see the effects of the law, because what is being questioned, from my understanding, sir, what is being questioned actually is the implementation of the law and not actually the very substance, not more on the substance of the law, because there is a fear that this will be open to abuse of the authorities, of the military and the law enforcers. And I think they have yet, I think, why don't we give this law a chance for the people to see if it's really going to result to abuse on the part of the law enforcers?
Are you suggesting that the court cannot assume jurisdiction over the petitions on the basis of the allegation that the language of the law causes a chilling effect upon the populace?
Well, I no, sir. The court can look into into this the petition, considering that it is of transcendental importance, sir.
What do you understand by the doctrine of transcendental importance?
Sir, doctrine of transcendental importance, sir, when a particular issue involves something that would that of national interest, that would involve a greater number of people, that would affect a greater number of people, sir.
Do you consider the petitions filed assailing the anti-terror law of transcendental importance?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is.
Does the doctrine of transcendental importance allow the Supreme Court to decide to review factual questions?
Well, as a general rule, sir, it can only review questions of law. But considering that is a case of transcendental importance, the Supreme Court can take exception on this, and it may look into the factual issues of the case.
Is an exception
Yes, sir.
because it is of transcendental importance. Aside from the anti-terror law, can you think of any situation where the Constitution allows the Supreme Court to look into factual questions because it involves a case of transcendental importance?
I think so. When grave injustice, when the case of not looking into the factual issue of the case would result to grave injustice.
Under the Constitution, the Supreme Court is constitutionally mandated to review the sufficiency of the factual basis of the President's proclamation of martial law. That's under the Constitution.
Yes, sir. Also, proclamation of martial law, sir, and also the habeas corpus, suspension of the writ of habeas corpus, I believe, sir.
When a case has become moot and academic, does it deprive the court of jurisdiction?
No, sir. Not because a case has become moot and academic. The case is a court. It's already deprived of jurisdiction. The Supreme Court can still look into a case even if it has already been moot or academic, because for academic purposes or probably for purposes of applying this particular case in the future.
So what are the exceptions? So the general rule is that if a case has become moot and academic, the court should decline to
Yes,
rule
sir.
on the case, correct? That's a general rule. What are
Yes,
the
sir.
what are the exceptions?
An exception, sir, when it would actually, sir, I'm teaching that. Right now, I'm teaching that.
You might be faulted by your students.
Yes, sir. Naman, you're putting me on the spot. So I think it may be. I remember one case that even if it was already rendered moot and academic, sir, nonetheless, the court still look into the case first for academic purposes and for sir, for future reference, sir.
What about the ABS-CBN franchise petition?
Yes, sir. What
Can
about
it
it, sir?
fall under that doctrine that the court can still look into certain issues even if it has become moot and academic because the franchise has expired?
No, sir.
The matter of citizenship of the owners of ABS-CBN, is that's something to look into?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think the court can look into to determine the citizenship ownership.
So when there is a grave violation of the Constitution, even if the case has become moot and academic, the court can still take cognizance of that case if it is of paramount public interest. All right. What is your understanding, Judge, of the rule on double jeopardy?
Well, double jeopardy case. Okay, okay, sir. A person cannot be tried twice for same offense. Um, but there are requisites in order that double jeopardy may attach, sir. There must be a valid complaint. There must be that the the accused has been tried, convicted, or acquitted, and that what else? And that the accused has entered in plea, and there's a valid information, and accused has entered its plea before a court with jurisdiction.
What about judicial courtesy? What do you understand by judicial courtesy?
Judicial
Does
courtesy,
it have
sir.
anything to do with the actuation of a judge of his is it the same as demeanor or
No,
appeal?
sir. No, sir. No, sir. It does not pertain to that, sir. I believe judicial courtesy is like, for instance, when a case has been filed. Like there are some cases, sir, that are filed before my court, and then there's a pending, and then that is a subject of a petition before the Supreme Court or a Court of Appeals. As a matter of judicial courtesy, there are some issues that I have to that has not that cannot be resolved yet. Otherwise, I would be rendering decision which might be contradict, contradict, contradictory to the one that will be rendered, and as a matter of judicial courtesy to the higher court.
You're also applying with the Court of Tax.
Yes, sir.
What is a letter of authority?
Well, sir, it's a letter of authority. Let me just, okay, sir. I hope I remember it. I think it's a letter of authority authorizing an officer to investigate or do a audit or public audit of a particular person or a particular business entity. I'm not too.
Audit, correct. It's issued by the Bureau of Internal
Yes,
Revenue.
sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
you
sir.
can audit unless the examiner is equipped with a letter of authority.
Yes, sir.
Suppose the examiner dies and somebody takes over, is there a need for another letter of authority?
Well, as long as the person who will replace the person issued with the letter of authority, sir, is, well, I'm sorry, sir. Let me change my answer. I think there's a need for one.
There's a need for one.
Yes.
All right. My last question is, what do you understand by academic freedom?
Well,
What is academic freedom?
well, academic freedom, sir. I think it is one that is observed in the conduct of in like, sir, for instance, I'm teaching. I exercise academic freedom. It is freedom to engage into discussions for academic purposes, and that the students and the professors or the lecturers are not uh, are not restricted from discussing matters which are not there's no restrictions, rather, sir. There are no restrictions on what matters that may be discussed, as far as as far as long as it is important or vital to the education of the students.
An academic break called by the student council. Huwag muna tayong papasok. Not until the president is ousted from office. Is that in the lawful exercise of academic freedom?
I don't think so, sir.
Why not?
Academic freedom, sir, I believe is more on the not does not pertain to the freedom to hold this kind of activity, but more on the activities that are confined within learning.
What about students allowed by their professors to go out of school to participate in mass demonstrations to air grievances against the government? Is that a valid constitutional right of the students?
Yes, sir.
Can you fault the institution, the educational institution, which is a government institution, let's say University of the Philippines or PUP, it's a government institution. Can you fault them? Can you fault the administrators, the teachers, for allowing the students to join the mass demonstration?
No, no, sir. I believe no, sir, because it's the right of the students to hold or to air their grievances. It's provided under the Constitution.
It's a valid exercise of academic freedom.
Yes.
All right.
Mm,
Thank you very much, Judge, for your time and good luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Justice Tiham. The next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Ilaw Jr.
Good afternoon,
thank
sir.
you, Attorney Inting.
You're welcome, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon,
Yeah.
Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Did we meet already? Because
I-
you're assigned at Pasig City.
Yes, sir. I think the time that, but sir, not yet. But I heard about you, sir.
Because I retired as an RTC judge of Taguig City, which
Yes,
was
sir.
then before under Executive Judge Danny Cruz.
I was still a new
So how
judge
long-
then, sir.
That was in 2015.
Yes, sir.
And again, what's your story? Registered nurse, passed the nursing licensure examination in California.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, I'm sorry that your husband was then a businessman who suffered a stroke.
Yes, sir.
Since when?
2017, sir. Yes, sir.
But he is unemployed since 2012
Yes,
or
sir.
2007.
No, sir. No, only since 2015, sir. When he closed business.
What was then his business?
He used to operate, sir, a CT scan business.
CT scan.
Yes,
He
sir.
was a medical technologist.
No, sir. His actually he is my classmate in law, sir.
Classmate in law. But he's not a lawyer.
If not, he did not take the bar, not even once, sir.
Hmm. And just for the record, you obtain your clear the degree of Bachelor of Arts major in music.
No, sir. Bachelor of Music with violin applied major, and then Bachelor of Arts major in English, yes, sir. AB English, sir.
Major in English. Where did you obtain your degree of Bachelor of Music?
It was in the then University of the East School of Music and Arts, sir, in Santa Mesa, where Sir Silica also had her
How-
studies.
About Bachelor of Arts major in English.
Yes, sir.
Where?
Also in University of the East, Claro and Recto, sir.
But in your PDS, you put your first name in the last name and vice versa.
Yes,
Why?
Sir, because I had a problem when I took up my NLEX exam, NLEX in the nursing licensure exam. They want it to appear exactly the same as how I uh, filled out the form. And unfortunately, I filled out the form starting with Rafalio Lingan. That's why I had to change my passport and had it officially changed to Rafalio Lingan. For uniformity, sir.
For uniformity, but
Yes,
for
sir.
the JBC record, you put your PDS name, first name Rapalyo Lingan,
Yes, sir.
middle name Mendoza,
Yes, sir.
and surname Elma.
No, sir.
Yes, do you have your PDS with you?
No, sir, I don't have it with me. It's in my file, sir, in my laptop. I'm sorry, sir, if there's an error.
Okay. Your father came from Albay,
Yes, sir,
was,
was Albay, sir.
and your mother came from
Cavite City.
Cavite City. You speak Chabacano?
Yes, sir.
No.
And a little of Spanish, sir.
Wow. Un poco.
Un poco, sir, actually a little more than this of poco.
More than.
But not fluent. I can read, understand, and sing in Spanish very well, sir.
The combination of Tagalog, English, and Spanish. Chabacano.
Yes.
Cavite City as well as Ternate.
No, sir. I think Cavite City only, sir. I'm not sure if Tonate. Zamboanga. Zamboanga is also Chabacano.
Ballesteros any relation to the basketball player of Ateneo then?
I'm not sure, sir.
Mestizo rin.
Sir, yung mga lola ko, mga Spanish eh.
Alright. You also stated that you ran for elective office, but you did not state when and for what position.
No, sir, I didn't. I never. Sir, I never ran for any elective officer.
But you indicated in your PDS that you ran for elective office.
Is it so, sir? No, sir, I don't. I didn't, sir. I didn't.
All right, you stated in your application letter that you, all right, I quote, you provide entertainment to the weary military officers and personnel through your violin playing.
Yes, sir.
Could you kindly indulge us with your violin playing now? You have your violin up there?
I have to get my violin from my cabinet, sir.
By the way, what's your favorite piece?
Well, I can play
You mentioned about the classical.
I can play anything, sir, from classical, and because I played for 7 years in hotel, sir, where I get to play all kinds of music from standards, jazz, everything, even Chinese music, even Japanese music. So, sir, yes.
Because I remember the piece of
Which one,
Fiddler
sir?
on the Roof.
Yes, sir. Tan taram pam pam pam. I play that, sir. Tan taram pam pam pam. We do play that all the time, sir.
Fiddler on the Roof. How about the William Tell Overture?
Yes, sir. Param 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 pam pam param param. Yes, sir. The introduction is the first part is very good. The cello solo, the overture. I also play that, sir.
And you also stated you were able to entertain. Were you able to perform before then General Lorenzana?
I'm not so sure, sir. Probably.
About General Esperon?
Yes, probably, sir. General Peron, I met him when I was the one who handled the case of the ancestral Bawa AD case, ancestral domain case, sir.
General now Secretary Anyo.
I'm not so sure, sir, because when I was studying for my MNSA, sir, I would play from time to time, and on special occasions, I would render special numbers.
About General Charlie Galvez.
I met him personally, sir, but I have not had the chance to play for him. But for many other politicians, sir, before, when I used to play at the Manila Hotel, I think I had a chance to play even for Senator Angara, Senator Drilon, Senator, a lot of senators, sir. Even then, Das Ople before, even then, before the First Lady, the Marcoses, sir. I had the chance to play for the Christmas Eve party in Malacanang.
About before General Sinas was fond of dancing, TikTok.
I do not know TikTok.
All right, you have been a RC judge for 5 years.
5 years and 7 months, sir.
Uh, and what do you consider your greatest contribution to that court?
Well, sir, I think my greatest contribution is that I have somehow changed the perception, not only of the public, but also as well as those of the litigants and counsels on the perception of what a court should be. It should not be one that is when one enters, one will feel so, when everyone, when the judge would looks very stern, and one would feel uneasy. Most counsels before my court, they would tell me that every time they would enter my court, they feel they feel so comfortable. They don't feel intimidated. They're not scared. And also I think probably it's also because of the homey appearance or ambience in my court, sir.
What is your most difficult failure?
As a judge, sir,
Yes,
I
that's
think
5 years.
if at all it can be considered a failure, sir, because I don't think it's I don't it's not I the failure cannot be attributed to me personally, sir, because it's not for the reason is not because of my own doing. Probably, sir, it's because of failure on meeting some deadlines, not in resolving cases, sir, but in submitting deadlines within the time frame provided in rehabilitation and liquidation cases, which are very difficult.
Now, do you think you have contributed enough of your talents and skills in that cause?
I'm sorry, sir.
Do you think you have contributed enough of your talents and skills in that cause as a presiding judge of branch 159
Yes, sir. I believe, sir, because
for a short
the
time?
yes, sir, because it's both a combination of family court and commercial court cases, and as we all know, Pasig is a commercial city, so there are so many commercial cases, and I've had the opportunity to handle, I think, even the most difficult cases, sir, that I've never had. I think I would that an ordinary judge in a regular court could not be able to experience in this lifetime.
All right, could you cite specific instance wherein you have exhibited your integrity, competence, independence, and probity?
Well,
Only one instance in particular.
okay, sir, only one instance, sir. I think in one instance, sir, I have exhibited my integrity, impartiality. In one instance, when I had to, there was a TRO filed wherein the personalities involved, I didn't know about them, sir. Actually, I've not been reading the news, and even if I know I've been hearing some of the names because some of them are popular, but I really don't care who are they, and I don't care the what will be the repercussion of my decision in denying the injunction, even if I found myself in the news in the news because of that particular decision. I really don't care. And I also,
All
I
right,
also,
can you
oh,
name
pardon.
that? Can you name that
Sir,
popular
sir,
personality?
that involved the Philippine Olympic Committee, sir.
What happened? Philippine Olympic Committee.
Yes, sir. It's the Kuwangko, sir. There was a
Uh,
TRO filed. It's the election.
Against Piping Kuwangko.
Yes, sir. It's one of the defendants. And also in one particular case, the Reza case, sir. When
The
I,
what?
Reza, involving the CEO Rappler case, sir.
Resta.
I rendered a very unpopular decision that I was bashed.
Bash.
But
Until now?
yes, sir, but I really don't care. I said I don't care who the personalities are, and I don't care I mean, as long as I know that what I did is right and what I did is in accordance with law.
All right. Branch 159 Pasig City is in RTC. It's both family court and commercial court.
Yes, sir.
And you have two masters, international law and human rights, and what's this?
Masters in National Security and Administration, sir.
Okay. How does one dispute a foreign judgment?
Well, sir, one disputes a foreign judgment by presenting, sir, a copy of the original copy of the or copy of the document from the foreign jurisdiction.
What kind of evidence may be revealed?
Sir, evidence, sir, documentary evidence or treatises or books, sir, or public documents where this particular or records where this particular judgment is contained.
And what is the worship rule in criminal law?
Worship rule. Is it about, sir, I'm sorry, I just want to be clarified. Is it about the territorial jurisdiction on the worship, sir? Worship is determined by the origin of the ship. If it's Philippine registered worship, the Philippines has jurisdiction even if it's within the territorial jurisdiction of another country.
All right. Who is your role model in the judiciary and why?
My role model, sir, in the judiciary. Let me see. I think Chief Justice De Castro, sir.
Chief Justice Teresita de Castro.
Yes,
Why?
sir. Well, of course, she's also a woman, and I can see her passion when it comes to cases involving family courts.
Mm,
She was the one who um, initiated so many programs for the family court judges, sir, and many trainings.
and what good traits or habits would you follow
I
from
think her,
her?
her passion for her work.
About any bad traits that you would avoid?
I do not know her personally. I'm sorry. I do not know her personally, sir.
All right, explain briefly the doctrine of the law of the case. You're teaching what subject, please?
Sir, I'm teaching criminal law 1 and constitutional law 1 and 2.
About this simple one, and the doctrine of the law of the case.
Doctor, doctrine of the law of the case. Sir, doctrine of the law of the case, it pertains to when a case has been decided on a particular, based on the circumstances, on the facts of the case, then the the law applied will only be pertaining to that particular case. And it will not be applied to those to the others. It's only a particular. It's only applicable to that particular case, sir.
And what is the difference between the legal subrogation and a conventional subrogation?
Legal subrogation, sir. I think legal subrogation, sir. It is subrogation. Uh, mm, that is in accordance with the law, in compliance with forms. As per as conventional subrogation, sir, there is no, it's in effect, it does not follow any particular form, sir. There's a subrogation, but it's just the usual subrogation without the accompanying requirements, legal requirements.
You also mentioned that your sala is a commercial court.
Yes, sir.
It was then presided by whom? before your assumption about that?
Judge Rodolfo Bonifacio, sir.
Bonifacio Bon.
Yes, sir. Si Judge Boni, sir.
You compulsory retired sometime.
Yes, sir. May 2014, sir.
But dealing with commercial courts, commercial laws, what are the implications of the application of corporation by estoppel?
Corporation by estoppel, sir. These are corporations who are stopped from claiming that they are not corporations because of by their deeds or by their acts, sir. When
So what will be the effect?
they are bound still, sir. They will still be bound. They will still be liable for the corporate acts.
I have only 27 seconds. All right. Last two questions. What belongs to you that other people use more often than you do? We're laughing.
That's the most difficult. That's the most difficult. What belongs to me that other people use more often than I do. I think it's my time, sir. My time.
Your time. I still have more. I still have one more time. What are your criteria in choosing a Christmas gift for a friend?
Well, it is something that is that she cannot find in any store. It is something that that would come from me, personally made by me.
Personally made by you?
Yes, maybe a painting, sir. A painting.
I see you're indulged in arts.
I also paint, sir. I do portraits. The paintings, sir, at my back are all my paintings.
Okay. We don't expect any gift from you. Like I know it's very expensive. Okay, thank you, Judge. And it's my pleasure of having to talk to you with such, just like an structured conversation. You know the purpose of an interview.
Thanks, sir. I hope in the future I can play some music for you.
Yes, maybe virtual.
Yes, yes, sir. Of course. I don't mind, sir.
I don't mind. I just have to practice my TikTok. I really have to sharpen my. Okay, thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having such just a good fun also. Thank you, and
sir.
good luck. Good luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Judge Ilaw. The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon. You are from OWAS Albay and Cavite.
Yes, sir. Cavite City.
You grew up where? In OWAS?
Sir, no, sir. I grew up in Cavite City.
Cavite City. You studied in OWAS, no?
Sir, until grade 2 only.
Yes, I noticed from your record that you studied in OWAS. You have so many. You're a nurse. You are a judge. You are also a judge advocate in the military. You are a.
Yes, sir. I'm
You
colonel,
have the
sir.
rank lieutenant in the reserve force.
Yes, sir.
In the
Lieutenant Colonel,
reserve
sir.
command.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at the same time, you play music.
Yes, sir.
You took up music where at UE?
Yes, sir. Conservatory of Music, sir.
Full time? No.
Yes, sir. I was a student. Student, sir. I was a working student, sir.
I see. Oh, you were first. What did you finish first?
Music, sir. Then AB English, then law, then nursing, then my 2 masters, sir.
Have you stopped studying? Not yet.
Not yet, sir. I wanted to study more. I haven't thought yet of what to do next.
But you have not stopped painting
Yes, sir.
and playing the violin.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I heard you earlier. You play Fiddler on the Roof
Yes, sir.
and Lone Ranger.
William Tell Overture.
William Tell Overture.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
and of course you know Vivaldi's
Yes,
Four
sir.
Seasons.
Yes, sir, of course.
Oh, but we will not go into that. You are applying in the Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals. We'll go first to the Court of Appeals. Oh, oh, the Court of Appeals is an appellate court.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes, sir.
Where does it exercise original jurisdiction?
Sir, it has
Exclusive.
exclusive
Not
original
concurring.
exclusive original jurisdiction on petition for annulment of judgment, sir, on
Yes.
RTC cases.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, only one.
Okay, sir.
You represented the OSG in those cases. What were your assignment at the OSG?
I had a lot, sir. I had a lot of writ of amparo, writ of habeas data.
Yeah,
I had,
you know everything. When I was in the Court of Appeals, it was Justice Amparo Tang who was representing the government.
I was the one arguing, sir, before the Court of Appeals.
Yes, that's why I was expecting you to know them because you are from the OSG all around,
Yes,
diba? And you handle land cases, right?
yes, sir, before a lot, sir.
Yes. So what is the assurance fund? That's very easy.
So assurance sponsor, it's the fund that is given to those who have been um, prejudiced by this registration of titles. Those
Operation of the torrent system.
yes, sir.
of
Yes, sir.
legislation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is the prescriptive period within which a claimant can file from the assurance fund, a claim from the assurance fund.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir, I do not remember anymore. It's been quite a while when I last left the office.
USG, but you've been in the RTC.
Yes, sir, but I am a court of family court, sir, and commercial court.
But you said you never stopped studying, and now you are applying in 3 courts. You should know.
It slipped my mind already, sir.
Yes. Okay, no problem. Are you all the first grant you mentioned was annulment of judgment, right?
Yes, sir. Under rule
First,
37.
I mean to say not grant. If you're sleepy, I'm also sleepy. I mean to say where the Court of Appeals says exclusive appellate. No, original jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are also applying in the Court of Tax Appeals.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Before we go to the Court of Tax Appeals, what are the 3 categories in the internal rules of the Court of Appeals where the Court of Appeals allowed to receive evidence?
Sir, internal rules. Okay.
Yes.
Evidence, sir. Okay.
Justice Peralta is there. You should know. He's watching us now.
Sir, the more you're making me nervous.
Ay,
So okay,
Yes,
to receive evidence, sir. Evidence. What? I'm sorry, sir. Your question is what are the instances when
There did 3 main categories wherein the court out of appeals can receive evidence because it is an appellate court, right?
yes, sir.
Oh,
Court of
so
Tax Appeals.
it merely It merely, I'm still in the Court of Appeals, not Tax Appeals. We'll call the Court of Tax Appeals CTA para hindi malito. We are still in the CA.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
we're
why I
in
asked the three in appellate cases. You usually just review the records.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So the question is when it may hear receive evidence.
Yes,
Sir,
there are
sir.
three main categories. Under one category, maraming cases, but there are three main categories.
Sir,
Give
it may
one of
receive.
them.
Sir, it may
Give
receive.
three. Give three.
Sir, it may receive the Court of Appeals may receive evidence, sir, in the exercise of its newly discovered evidence in the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction on in resolving matters or issues before it, and in
That's very
cases.
general. That is very general.
Okay, sir, and in cases, sir, in evidence in the exercise also of its appellate appellate jurisdiction appellate jurisdiction of additional evidence, and in newly discovered evidence when then a motion for new trial is granted.
New trial. What else?
And sir, in when there are issues of facts that are to be resolved, that there is a need for reception of further evidence, sir. Additional evidence.
The first category is in those cases where the court has original jurisdiction. So you know that you mentioned them earlier: money laundering, habeas environment, habeas data. Oh, you mentioned them. You forgot.
Yes, sir.
Do
Yes,
not
sir.
be nervous.
I'm really nervous, sir.
Oh, do not be. Anyway, later you will listen to music or you play music. Oh,
I wish I could just
now
play music
let
for
us
you,
go
sir.
to we'll go to the Court of Tax Appeals. We just call it CTA kasi nakakagulo. They're both Court of Appeals. So we call it CTA. Okay. What is the procedure when you appeal from CTA, a decision of a CTA division to a CTA and back? Is it an appeal or what? What is the? How do you go to the? How do you go to the court and back?
Sir, a decision of the CTA division is appealable by Rule 42 to the Court of Appeals. And then a decision
No.
of the
Sabihin mo na lang CTA or what?
Oh, yes, sir.
You mentioned Court of Appeals, mali yun.
Sir, Rule 42, sir. Rule 42.
Yes,
Decision of the division.
Yes.
But Rule 45, decision of the CTA and bank.
CTA division, sabihin mo. CTA division.
CTA division, sir.
Distinguish it from CTA and bank. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sige,
CTA division.
repeat.
Okay, sir. Appeal of decision of CTA division to the CTA and bank. And then the decision of the CTA and bank is by Rule 45 to the Supreme Court.
To the Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
Oh. What is the mode of appeal again?
Sir, the mode of appeal by petition for review.
For review.
Yes, sir.
So what is the procedure?
Sir,
It is Rule 42.
Rule 42, sir, rule, the filing of the notice of appeal.
Oh.
Notice of appeal.
In your court, RTC, when a losing litigant appeals your decision, they file a notice of appeal in your court, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the procedure in the Court of Tax Appeal or CTA?
Sir, I'm not so sure about it, sir. I just know where the decision has to be appealed to.
Appeal.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so what is the
appeal for
procedure?
review.
What is the procedure?
Filing of petition for review,
Appeal?
sir.
You mentioned notice of appeal earlier.
A petition for review, sir.
Oh, what is the procedure if it is petition for review?
Filing of petition, sir.
Yes, what is followed there?
Then filing a petition, and then it must
Okay.
be, of course, the filing of the payment
What?
of the required docket fees.
Oh, what is the petition? What is the petition? The petition for review. How is that?
The petition for
What is the
review.
procedure of their petition for review? There are so many petitions for review. There are petitions for review in the Supreme Court. There is a petition for review in the Court of
Okay,
Appeals.
petition for review of the decision rendered by the CTA
Yes.
division, sir.
Yes. What is the procedure? What is the procedure?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not so sure about it, sir.
The procedure is the same as Rule 42 of the 1997 Rules of Civil Procedure. So you know now what is
Yes, sir.
Rule 42.
Yes, sir.
Petition for review under Rule 42
Yes, sir.
of the 1997 Rules of Civil Procedure. So now you remember.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I
What
know,
is
sir, Rule
Rule
42, but I do not exactly know what the exact.
What is Rule 42, if you remember?
Rule 42, sir, is appeal to the CA of cases of quasi-judicial agencies. And
Are you
yes,
sure?
sir.
Are you sure?
So wait, sir.
I'll wait. Up
MTC
to what time?
41. No, sir. Rule 42, yes, sir. Appeal of cases of
42.
42, sir. Yes, sir.
According to you, quasi-judicial bodies.
Sir, that it's yes, sir, 42.
42.
To CA.
Quasi-judicial bodies.
Sir, appeal from the decisions of this civil service, social security system, the
So it's under
SLURD.
so it's under 43, correct? Or 42?
42, sir.
Because there is a petition of 42.
42, sir. 42, sir.
42
Yes, sir. 42.
does not cover when a decision of the MTC is appealed to your sala. You are an appellate court, no? And then you go to the Court of Appeals. What is,
Sir, under ordinary appeal, it's Rule 41 under Rule 44, sir. Ordinary appeal, yes, sir.
If the RTC, how do you go to the Court of Appeals?
By the filing of notice of appeal, sir.
No, not yet.
Sir.
No, that is an ordinary appeal. When decision is rendered
Appellate.
by the RTC in its appellate jurisdiction.
Okay, sir.
So now you remember.
Now, yes, sir, I remember.
Yeah,
Appellate jurisdiction, sir, is Rule 41.
41.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is Rule 43?
Rule 43 is...
Can you use it in the Court of Tax Appeal, CTA?
No, sir.
No? Are you sure?
Wait, sir.
Wait again. You go to section 11. It says there you can, with respect to decisions or rulings of the Central Board of
sorry. Central Board of Assessment Appeal.
And the RTC, in the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction, appeal shall be made by filing a petition for review under a procedure analogous to those provided under Rule 43. So now you remember?
Yes, sir.
Nabalik-baliktad mo?
Yes, sir. Nabalik-baliktad.
So, what is the rule on accumulated earnings under our tax laws?
Accumulated earnings, sir. It's
Yeah.
income. All income, sir, derived from all sources, from rent, from all other professions being exercised or business. All accumulated earnings, all earnings derived from all other sources, sir. Not just from one particular.
Yes. What is the rule on that if you do not declare dividends from year to year?
Sir, it must be
Every year.
every.
You do not declare dividends. What is the rule of that? So if you do not declare dividends, the shareholder does not receive any money or dividends equivalent of his share, cannot pay taxes. So it accumulates. What is the rule on such where there is accumulation of dividends?
Sir, in case of accumulation of dividends, sir, then it will be taxed later on, sir, based on the total earnings, all the accumulated earnings in just one, with the application of the corresponding penalties and surcharges.
That is your understanding. Anyway, you review your tax laws.
Yes, it's been a long time, sir.
There is a formula for that, Bardal formula. But since you do not know the rule, I will not ask you. Or do you know what is the Bardal formula?
Sir, I saw it somewhere only recently, but I cannot remember.
You cannot remember.
Yes, sir.
Where do you apply the immediate test in taxation? Immediacy test. Immediacy test.
Immediacy test.
Yes.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I think the first time I've heard of it.
That is the test used in accumulated dividends. You teach constitutional law, right?
Yes, sir.
Where do you use means end test?
Sir?
Means end test. Di ba you teach constitutional law?
Yes, sir.
You have not encountered that?
So what
Mosqueda versus Philippine growers, banana growers.
I don't.
Although sa equal, I will guide you sa equal protection clause.
Okay, equal protection clause. I know, sir.
Yes, you know. So you have read that case.
I must have read probably, sir, but I forgot. There are so many cases in constitutional law, sir.
But you teach constitutional.
Yes, sir.
What is the general rule in in the equal protection? What is the constitutional provision?
Equal protection clause. Every person should be given the same treatment, sir. But there are exceptions to that when there is valid classification. What
is the test to determine the reasonability of the distinction?
Valid classification, sir.
What is the test?
Germane to the purpose of the rule, and
What is? I'm not asking what are the requisites of a valid qualification. I'm asking what is the test to determine reasonability of the distinction.
Okay. Anyway,
you read that case.
Mosqueda versus growers.
Okay. You mentioned that you do not care about the personalities involved in a case.
Yes, sir.
What was the case in your sala involving Reza?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just curious.
Sir, it's the SEC case, and there are two cases actually, sir.
Still ongoing?
We haven't started actually, sir. There's a pending incident.
I see. You have not started. So
there's a pending incident that has been the subject of a petition for certiorari because of an order that I issued.
I see. So I will not ask you about this.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, for the benefit of my colleagues, what is a PDR? Very easy for you. Oh, a res occasion, di ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we haven't gone yet to the merits of
Oh,
the
but
case, sir. Philippine,
dapat alam mo yun.
sir. Philippine, sir, so I'm sorry. Receipts, Philippine, it's a receipt, sir.
So that's very general. You are handling that case?
Yes, sir, but we haven't got through yet. Actually, there's no
You do not-
no
you do
agreement yet,
not-
sir.
You do not even know what is a PDR.
So I know, sir.
You
I've
have
read it
encountered.
before.
You have counted.
Yes, sir. But I can't exactly recall. But it's about the owners. It's because it's about the contributions of a foreign company, sir.
Anyway, I will not ask you whether it's taxable or not. Still at issue.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What is you're also applying in the Sandigan Bayan?
Yes,
What
sir.
most of the cases concerns the procurement law. What is the most the general mode of procurement?
Sir, through public bidding, sir.
Public bidding. Can you give me? There are 9 exceptions. Can you give me some?
Some exceptions, sir. Okay, sir. When there is an urgent necessity, on when there is
That
when
is a ground when there is a necessity.
no, sir. I'm sorry, sir. When there's a certain amount, sir, that needs no that there's a certain threshold of amount, sir, that does not require public bidding, sir.
Yes. What else?
And I think when there are some services that cannot be open to public bidding, sir, like for instance when it's too technical or too that it cannot be open to public bidding because there is only a not there's only a few who might qualify.
Or if there are few companies or entities who can
Yes, sir.
qualify, you conduct
Yes,
a public bidding. There's so many companies. Oh.
Well, that's the only thing I can think of right now, sir.
When are you allowed to procure through negotiation?
Sir, you can be allowed to procure to negotiations, like I said, within a certain threshold. Um, for some equipment or uh, any necessities that within the certain threshold and that there is when it is time is of the essence, sir.
Time is of the essence. You can invoke that as an exception.
When there's an urgent necessity, sir, I believe, sir.
Urgent. How
Yes, sir.
urgent?
Because it would take, sir, if, like for instance, sir, in this case of like we're now having pandemic.
Yes.
Like like
do
if
not
we have
conduct public bidding.
no, sir, we can conduct public bidding, but there might be some instances when there is a need to act on some matters because of urgency.
Well,
Because if we have
under the law, there are 9 instances when you are allowed to enter into negotiations. You call that negotiated procurement. There are 9. Can you give me at least 3?
I cannot think of right now, sir. That's the only one I can think of. That one that is within the threshold.
How about consultants?
Okay.
Engagement of consultants.
Oh yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh.
Engagement of consultants. Yes, sir.
Oh. What is the rule?
there can be no there's a need it can be conducted so without any going through the process.
What is the decision in the Makasait case? The technical consultant of the Supreme Court
I'm
during
sorry,
the
sir.
time of Chief Justice Sereno.
I'm sorry, sir. I cannot. I have not heard of that case.
You have not read of that case, mga 2 years na rin yan. How do you keep yourself abreast of recent jurisprudence?
Sir, I must admit, sir, if I must admit to you honestly that I actually of all the subjects in law, taxation is the one I hate most.
So why did you apply in the CTA?
So I'm a musician. I'm very poor in math.
How? I suppose you're going to impose a penalty.
Sir, that's easy, sir. That's basic.
That is
When it
easy.
comes to penalty, sir. But when it comes to some complicated computations, sir, I can't be relied upon.
But you applied in the in the Court of Tax Appeals.
Yes, sir, because of out of convenience, sir. Because I live a few blocks away from the Court of Tax Appeals, sir.
Very near. Oo. You are also near Sandigan Bayan.
Malapit-lapit din, sir. Yes, sir.
Again, what is limited source bidding? Limited source bidding. What are its requirements?
Limited source bidding, sir. Okay.
Yes. Give me 2 examples.
Well, honestly, sir, I really have no idea about
You have no idea. You
about
just
bidding.
applied because the 2 buildings housing the courts are near your place.
No, sir.
Ganun ba?
So what I learned about Sandigan Bayan are the other cases they filed before it, like when I used to be with the OSG, sir.
I see. Oh,
Yeah, but during my time, we never handled any procurement
I see.
cases.
Oh, you earlier mentioned LOA. What is it? LOA is letter of what?
Authority, sir.
Authority. And LN is what?
Letter of notice, sir.
Yes. So what is the difference between the two?
Well, letter of authority, sir, like we said earlier, it's an authority given by for the officer to conduct revenue officer to conduct audit. While a
Yes.
letter of notice is a notice on the taxpayer, sir, on the assessment.
Oh. What else?
Letter of notice.
There are at least 3
Letter of notice on the assessment.
3 aspects where they differ. LOA and LN.
So I think I have not read that in the tax principles that I read yesterday.
You read it yesterday?
Yes, sir. I read on taxation, sir, but probably due to because of the volume of
You were saturated. Your
Yes,
mind
sir.
was saturated.
volume of information that I've read in the past 2 days.
Doon na lang sa tinuturo mo, you teach constitutional law. Right?
Yes, sir.
Very easy. Kaya mo yung constitutional law. What is qualified immunity?
Qualified immunity.
Nagpunta na ako sa Constitution.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Qualified immunity. It's on the part, sir, of the immunity of suit by the state. Are we talking about the immunity of suit, sir, by the state, or immunity of the?
I'm the one asking.
Yes, I'm sorry, sir.
I'll start it. It's a qualified immunity is initially given to a government official. Diyan muna ako, period. Ipakaw na magpatuloy.
Okay. Okay, sir. It's in immunity, sir. It's given to anyone who's in public office, especially the president, He is immune from suit at the time of his incumbency.
Siya ba nagka-i-invoke ng qualified immunity or yung subordinate niya?
The subordinator.
Subordinate.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
I think it happened in the case of Romualdez, if I'm not mistaken.
You are mistaken. It was cited in De Lima versus President Duterte, written by Chief Justice Bersamin. Yeah, qualified immunity. You are not able to read it. Kasi hindi nagtuturo ka, you teach as different from presidential immunity, right?
Yes, sir.
Oo. What else do you want to cover? Okay, when you teach constitutional law, you read the cases promulgated by the Supreme Court, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, there are hundreds of cases that I assigned.
No, on constitutional law. Oh,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, what is, do you know the case of Bacolod, Diocese of Bacolod versus Comelec? Oh, that was handled by the OSG.
So what is? So I cannot recall exactly. Probably is it about
And,
the?
I will help you.
Yes,
I will
sir.
help you. It's about the Team Patay and Team Buhay during the election.
Patay.
The Comelec warned the Diocese of Bacolod that they will be sanctioned for putting up those two billboards.
Okay, sir. It is
Okay.
Sir, I think it is something to do with the exercise of freedom of religion.
Religion.
Yes, sir.
What's the issue there? Religion.
And also the that's sir, it's a part. It's a that the church should not engage into any partisan political activity, sir.
That was the decision there. The decision there was on freedom of expression. O patapos na tayo. What are the essential elements of the freedom of expression? Very easy. You teach that.
Freedom of expression, essential elements, sir.
Elements, yes.
Are there elements, sir? I don't. Okay, sir.
Essential elements. I will help you. Freedom from prior restraint and freedom from subsequent punishment. Okay.
Okay. Freedom from prior restraint and freedom from. Okay. Yes, sir.
I give the answers now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but I can explain, sir.
No. I will ask you another one. Oh,
I know
what
that.
are the two general limitations or restrictions
on
the freedom of expression?
Freedom of expression, sir. Okay. Limitations, sir. It cannot be.
How do you categorize them? There are two general categorizations. Those will be my last answer. Kaya mo yan, you are from the OSG. And you teach constitutional law.
Two categories of freedom of expression. Freedom of speech, sir. Freedom of speech.
Freedom of expression, speech, pareho yun. The two general limitations are content-based restrictions or limitations, and one is content-neutral limitations or restrictions. O sige, Judge, baka pagod ka. Oo, pagod ka na. O sige, your excuse.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. You teach those, you review them and teach them in your classes, huh?
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you, sir.
Sige.
Thank you, Judge Rafalio Lingan, and thank you, Honorable Justice Mendoza. The second candidate for interview is Judge Zenon Voltaire B. Repoglio, Presiding Judge, Regional Trial Court, Branch 38, Dumaguete City. He is an applicant for the Court of Appeals. Good afternoon, Judge Repoglio. First to interview you is the Honorable Judge Franklin J. de Monteverde.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, Attorney Tali.
You're welcome, Judge.
Good afternoon, Judge Repoglio.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Clearly, Your Honor. I would like to make it hard. Okay.
Okay,
Very clear now.
okay. So you are an applicant for the Court of Appeals?
Yes, sir.
Okay, only for the Court of Appeals.
Only for the 6 positions of the Court of Appeals, sir.
Okay. Now, presently, you are the presiding judge of the RTC, Branch 38 in Dumaguete City.
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been here as an RTC judge?
As an RTC judge, it's been more than 8 years, Your Honor, because I was appointed May of 2012.
Okay. Prior to your appointment sa RTC, you spent some time also with the MTC.
Yes,
or
I was
MTCC.
MTCC.
When were you appointed to that post?
I was appointed as an MTCC judge on sometime on March of 2006.
2006. So
Yes,
for
sir.
how long have you been with the judiciary?
All in all, Your Honor, that will be almost 18 years, including my stint with the Supreme Court, because I was a court attorney of the Supreme Court before I was appointed as a MTCC judge.
When did you pass the bar, Judge?
I took and passed the 1997 bar examination, sir. The result was on 1998.
1998. So after you passed the bar, did you immediately go into practice or what?
Immediately, I went into private practice, sir.
And what were the offices that you were acquainted with prior to your appointment as a judge, MTCC judge?
When on my first year, sir, as a lawyer, I practiced here in Dumaguete. Of course,
Okay.
all kinds of cases. From preliminary investigation, we attend hearings from because you're a new lawyer, and then from the first level courts, then slowly we were made to appear in the regional trial courts. Until I was hired, I was appointed in a bus company. I was an in-house legal counsel 1 year after that.
Okay. This is your first time to apply for the CA?
This is my first time, sir.
Okay. Since this is your first time, can you give us an insight into your academic background? Starting from the elementary
Well,
years.
well, I studied in a public school during my elementary days in Tanhay City. So that is actually my hometown. And then in high school, I graduated at Silliman University, sir. And then I finished my college also at Silliman University.
Yes. Pre-law.
Yeah, my pre-law is Bachelor of Business Administration. And then after that, I went to Cagayan de Oro because I was a working student. That's why I studied in Ateneo de Cagayan, Xavier University, sir.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
And then after that, I immediately also took and passed the bar on the same year, sir. Then that's it. After I passed the bar, I immediately went to practice. Then 1 year after that, I went back to Mindanao, where I became in-house legal counsel of bus companies for 3 years. For 3 years before I applied in the Supreme Court as a court attorney. I was with the Office of the Chief Attorney under the Office of the Chief Justice. And then from there, I spent 3 years there. I spent 3 years before I was appointed as an MTCC judge. I went back to Dumaguete because that was the station where I was appointed. Then after
By
6
the way,
years,
Judge, do you have any masteral or doctorate degrees?
no, I don't have. I had the opportunity in the Supreme Court because there was a rotation there, and it was supposed to be my turn actually to
Okay.
go to Australia, and I don't know, the timing was that when I was about to go to Australia, my appointment came, so I chose to be a judge, and it was my friend who got it, and he's actually a judge also.
Okay, so any credentials earned during that time when you were already a judge? Any awards given you? Any citations?
What I state, from the Supreme Court, Your Honor, no, I did not apply for any awards. I was not nominated for any awards. No, Your Honor.
No, from the community where you live.
No, Your Honor.
None. Okay. Now, in your letter intent, you mentioned that aside from your job as the RTC judge of Branch 38 in Dumaguete, you also serve as acting or assisting judge. Tell us about that.
Well, for all the years that I've been an RTC judge, I've always have another court. So when I was appointed, the year I was appointed, I was appointed as the assisting judge in Bai City. And then
Okay.
after Bai City, I was also appointed as the acting presiding judge of another branch in Dumaguete this time, that is RTC branch 34.
Okay.
And then
Branch 34.
branch 34, I was also the acting presiding judge then. And then I was also appointed as the acting presiding judge of RTC branch 30. That's why I stated in my application that there was a time that I was handling 3 courts, Your Honor. So now I am only handling 2 courts.
Okay. Now, medically, you have been certified to be physically fit, but
Yes,
there
sir.
is a notice showing here that you have an atheromatous aorta.
Yeah, I was actually even surprised also about it because I don't feel anything. Every result that I had was okay except that. So we actually went to the cardiologist together with my wife because my wife is a nurse, and then the cardiologist said he actually laughed because these are matters of concern only if you have high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, or if you have high in sugar. And he explained to me that this is nothing. He likened it to the hinges of a door. Like sometimes there's got to be some rust on it, and the that valve is actually a big one.
Yes.
I mean, that artery is actually a big one, and sometimes there's got to be rust on it when you grow old. So yeah, I don't have.
Actually, this is not life-threatening, but it may, in the future, if left untreated, will be a discomfort to you. Do you know what this is? An
He had,
atheromatous aorta?
yeah, he explained to me that, sir. It's a kind of a blood vessel that is near the heart, actually. That it's quite big. That's what he said, and there's nothing to worry about it. Not yet, no.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet. I don't have any maintenance medicine, sir. I don't think any maintenance.
Okay. Now, atheromatous aorta is merely the accumulation of plaques of minerals
Yeah, I
and
think.
fatty tissues in the inner walls of the aorta.
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
Okay, yan. Kung medyo tumatagal and left untreated, it hardens. So, kaya mahirapan yung blood to flow.
I will try to run more.
Okay. Okay. Now, you wrote that you were commended for steadfast commitment to public service.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah, you forgot about this.
I forgot
By
about
the
it.
25th legislature of the state of Hawaii
Yeah,
in 2009 as the executive judge of the City of Courts of Dumaguete.
I
You
forgot
forgot
that.
about this. Tell us what it is.
There was this group of congressmen from the U.S. They were actually touring the city, and they were observing. But probably they were looking for maybe things to fund. I don't know, but they were observing us. They were going around. They were like investigating. I think there were three congressmen, and then after a while, they went back and then they gave me this plaque. They gave me this plaque of appreciation, and that's what it said. Actually, I just copied it for steadfast commitment to.
Now, you also wrote that as a court attorney in 2003, you had the opportunity to do research and conferred with lawyers from different parts of the country. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, in the office of the chief attorney, a lot of matters are being referred to, like administrative, judicial, almost everything that the office of the chief justice refers to, even decisions. We draft also decisions, and then I was still then the junior lawyer then, so I also have some supervisors. That's why I get the chance to confer with them, and the attorney Edna Dino then was the chief attorney. I think she was really very good. I think she went to the ombudsman after she was a very good writer, and then that's why we were where we were trained to write, sir, opinions, decisions, or administrative matters, even disciplinary matters of lower court judges, because sometimes the office of the court administrator also refers matters to our office. And there is a hierarchy of lawyers there. Actually, my work will be edited by another senior lawyer, and then there is the chief. So I get to know them. I appreciate their work also. So I know some good writers there.
Okay, Judge. You have been in the judiciary for about 14 years already. So, can you tell us that any contributions have you made to the dispensation of justice?
Well, the basic my basic contribution really is to uphold the principle of the more famous one, that justice delayed is justice denied. I always make the disposition of cases fast. I have never asked for any extension of time to decide a case. I have never reached the 90-day period. I always make it a point that the older cases, the aging process is being observed. And so I have to see to it that those who are in when especially when I enter into a new court, I always see to it that the old cases who has been there for about 5 to 10 years, I make it a point that they will be disposed, sir, so that I will work that way, that those who are the cases in the court who has been aging there, I will have to dispose it. That is my number one principle when I go into a court, especially because I am appointed to different courts. And then I also train my staff to be like that, to work that way, because I believe that the only person that should be blamed in the delay of cases is, I mean, the number one person that should be blamed in the delay of cases is always the judge, sir.
You are still young, Judge, at age 49.
Now, yeah, I'm 49 now, sir.
49. Now,
Yeah.
should you be appointed as an associate justice, what could be your vision for the future of our judicial system?
Well, my vision would be that the litigants, the people who goes to court, knows that when they go to court, their problems will be solved. I have some ideas in mind that because I have ideas in mind that how things can be fast tracked, because I learned, we always hear it from people, around us, that cases are up to 15 years, 20 years. I even got this drastic idea that some modes of appeal should be deleted, like the ordinary appeal, because what really happens in our level is that those who win, they actually don't feel that they won. They just raise it upstairs, and those who lose, they don't actually really lose. Their lawyers will just appeal this one. My point is, there must be some kind of that's like labor cases. There must be some kind of a penalty there must be some kind of risk if you are going to raise it on appeal, or there might be some kind of finality in judgment even on the lower court level, because I think the people are not really satisfied when, when they, especially in civil cases or even in criminal cases, when they win, I don't think they're really satisfied. They will just say, we'll just have to wait another 5 to 10 years because this is going up.
Okay, Judge.
That's it.
One of the main trends in the new normal now is people working at home,
Yes, sir.
that being connected to work by internet. Now, under this circumstance, under this condition, under this atmosphere, how can one be a leader with much less to eye contact with his subordinates?
Right now, sir.
How can he manifest his leadership when everything is being done online? There is less eye to eye contact with your subordinates.
Yes, exactly. It's quite difficult right now, but well, you just have to lead by example, sir. We just have to be there for your staff when you need it. We just have to consult them every now and then with the utmost or most effective way of using technology. Communication is really very important right now with the rising number of COVID cases. So right now we are actually sometimes we are handicapped, in the processing of cases in our courts. So I can always lead by example that I am up to it. I can be ready anytime they want to call me, and so that's why, so that maybe they will have to follow me also. My principle is always to be fast in the things that I do, so that my staff will also move fast because papers are coming to their way, so they have to move also. So by that way, Your Honor, I can still impart on them the things that we need to do during these times of crisis, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge. Your court is a general one?
Yeah, general court, Your Honor.
Okay. So you also handle drug cases?
Yes, many, Your Honor.
Are you familiar with the exclusionary principle? The fruit of the poisonous tree, in other words.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is it all about?
Well, basically, those that are things that are being gathered or taken as illegally cannot be used as evidence in court. These are the usual defense under Section 21, of course, in RA 9165, that those that are illegally obtained evidence cannot be used against the accused. So there are a lot of rulings by the Supreme Court on this, and there are some extended rulings like the on the interpretation of Section 21, Your Honor. Like the witnesses should be there, the manner of the transfer of the evidence from one to the other. The exclusionary rule will apply at these stages, Your Honor, because if there is a violation of Section 21, this evidence can no longer be used as evidence against the accused.
Okay.
So, yeah.
My last question. You are familiar with the facial challenge, of course.
What is it, sir?
Facial challenge. What is this?
Facial
This is
challenge.
made a challenge to the statute.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ah.
The constitutionality of a statute, sir.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the Supreme Court has the power of judicial review on the constitutionality of any act of any branch of the government by this power of judicial review, Your Honor. And then this, of course, statute must be in itself constitutional before it will pass the constitutionality test, Your Honor.
It is merely a challenge wherein the plaintiff alleges that the legislation is always unconstitutional.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. That was my last question, Judge Repoglio. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good luck and stay safe.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Judge de Monteverde.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Tali.
You're welcome, Judge. The next interviewer is the Honorable Justice Noel Menes Tiham.
Thank you, Attorney Tali.
Good
You're
afternoon.
welcome.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
Judge.
Good afternoon, sir.
Are you an ethical judge?
Yes, sir. Yes, I think I'm an ethical judge, sir.
There was an opposition was emailed to us this morning by Attorney Philip Sigrid Fortune pertaining to allegedly you, while being an incumbent judge, you acted as a witness to a notarial will presented by Olivia Yanson. I understand in your answers to the questions of Judge de Monteverde that you acted as counsel for several bus companies. But the
Yes.
point of the opposition is you are a judge in Dumaguete, and then allegedly you abandoned your work as a judge in Dumaguete and went to Bacolod to act as a witness to a notarial will. So what do you say to that?
Well, I actually have read it when I tried to log in, sir. I just read it today, actually, when I tried to log in Zoom. So, well, actually, that is correct. I was a witness to the will of Mrs. Olivia Yanson. It's she is still alive, actually. But then the allegation that I traveled all the way to Bacolod, that is correct. I traveled, but I have all the necessary documents. I took a leave of absence. I went to Bacolod to sign her will, and I don't think any uh, something is unethical about it. In fact, I consulted some of my colleagues about it. Some of my judges, is this okay? Can I be a witness to this will? And then it's okay. But actually, under rule, canon number 5, actually .06 of the Code of Canon of Judicial Ethics, it says that a judge cannot be an executor or administrator, but there's nothing in there that prohibits a judge to be a witness. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think.
was it very important that an acquaintance of the executor who is an incumbent judge uh, consented to be a witness to the will when other people could have done the same?
Well, that is correct. Anyone could, but she requested me, sir. Actually, I declared her to be my. She's like a mother to me. She paid for my law school. That's why I went to Cagayan de Oro. I was a working student of hers. I became her lawyer after that, and that is everybody knows about it. And then if she requests me to be, she's old, and she requests me just to be her witness for all the things that she has done to me, sir. I don't think I think I have to say yes. So, and I was also these travel of mine were all covered by a leave of absence. It's all there in the Supreme Court. My leave of absence.
But during the probate of the will, considering that your name appears there and everybody knows that you are an incumbent judge, will it not amount to some degree of undue influence upon the court that will handle the probate?
I don't think so, sir, because first, that is not my jurisdiction, it's in Bacolod. And second, it's just the probate of the will, it's just the extrinsic validity of the will, and that the testatrix is alive. Actually, it's a petition of a person for the probate of his will during her lifetime. So actually, it's it's just a normal process, like to be a witness to a will. It's nothing really very contentious about it. It's I'm not there to something to I'm not there to prove something, but I'm just there to say that I was there when he made that will. So I actually consulted first. I read the books, and I was thinking that if this is right, and then I found out, sir, that I don't think there is something unethical about it.
Have you heard about the Gallieri blood test? It was announced in the international use the other day. It is a blood test which is quite new and pioneering that will be able to detect cancer in the blood in individuals, which is particularly useful in identifying types of cancer that are currently difficult to diagnose and treat early. It is alleged by the manufacturers and the people administering that blood test that a blood test can detect as many as 50 types of cancer from a blood test. Now, my question is, if the same is adopted in the Philippines and it is made mandatory for purposes of employment purposes or for purposes of marriage, will it be valid and constitutional?
Well, I would like to I would like to say that it is not valid, sir, because actually it is discriminatory. For sure, that is very expensive. And then if you have a cancer, that is also discriminatory because, you know, you can always work if you have a cancer if the same is being, treated well. So that will be discriminatory against persons who can't afford it. It is discriminatory against persons who have cancer itself. So I don't
But,
think it.
but if it is affordable, isn't it that public health is an important objective and function of government that is even recognized by the Constitution?
Well, I don't think the distinction will be substantial because that will unduly deprive those parties who have cancer to to have a job that will immediately disqualify them to be a candidate of a job if that is a requirement, sir, because uh, that will unduly give them a disadvantage in the process of application. I don't think there is a substantial distinction for them to be disqualified in the application of a job, sir.
Recently, the U.S. Supreme Court, by a vote of 5-4, nullified the decision of the New York City to ban or to limit the participation of participants in religious gatherings. This is the case of Roman Catholic Diocese of Brooklyn, New York versus Governor Cuomo of New York. And by a vote of 5-4, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the government action of limiting the number of participants in a religious gathering. If the same petition is filed in the Philippines, because you're fully aware that there is a health protocol issued by the IATF limiting during the period of pandemic the number of participants in churches to something like 30 or a maximum of 50, even when the assembly hall can accommodate almost 500 people. So if a petition is filed in court questioning that government regulation limiting participation in religious gatherings in churches, if you were the judge, would you uphold that regulation as constitutional and valid?
Okay. That would involve the balancing of interests, sir. But I would like to go for the upholding of the constitutionality of such a regulation because the state must determine the the interest that is involved. One is the religious freedom of the of a group and the health of the country. So if I'm I'm for while the government needs to respect the freedom of religion and to express themselves through a gathering, there is a more paramount concern that the state must address, which is the health issues in the country. And I'm sure this regulation is because of the fact that, when we gather in a group, the chances of transmitting the disease will be high, and this is maybe a scientifically proven fact. So I would like to go for the constitutionality of such regulation, considering the fact that the right to gather, anyway they can gather, but it's just the number that being lowered. I would like to go for the constitutionality of such regulation, because such right, the religious freedom, and to right to gather as a group must give way to the state's power to regulate and to address the health issues.
In relation to allowing comparatively more people to enter the malls and commercial establishments, don't you see any degree of discrimination in that aspect?
Well, I maybe this it's just the comfort of the people is just being affected, but I don't think there is a discrimination there, because there is a higher concern that needs to be treated. This is inherent in the power of the state to regulate during these times, that we should the entry and the number of people inside malls and other enclosed buildings must be regulated. I think these acts are valid, sir.
Are you suggesting that spiritual health is of lower category than physical health?
Well, unless it is, I don't know, but because it is actually not proven yet that the more you are, the more you are in a group, the more effective your religious practice is, or that the more you are in a group, you can always pray alone. You can always pray in a small group, but it's hard to say whether it's more effective if we are many. So that is something that it's hard to prove. So I will stick to my answer, sir.
Do you agree with the argument that government regulations that are designed to curb infection and to prevent transmission are necessarily valid?
Well, necessarily may not be the accurate word, but it doesn't mean that every regulation now being being undertaken by the state, being undertaken by the Philippines is necessarily valid. Of course, these are still subject to review by the proper authorities. We cannot just there is no blanket authority on the part of the state to regulate without limits, sir. So this can still be questioned. It's not necessarily valid, so it can still be reviewed, sir.
Is police power, the exercise of police power, absolute in a case of emergency of affecting public health? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that it is not absolute. It can be regulated. The police power is being usually exercised by the legislature and the executive branch. That is why we have the Supreme Court, sir. That's why we have you. That's why we have people in the Supreme Court who can review these acts. That's why it is not absolute, sir.
Okay, let me be more specific. The protocol on the wearing of the mask, is there scientific basis that it prevents infection and transmission?
Well, I'm not a medical guy, but the way it is in the news, and my wife, who is a nurse, she's very strict on that. I really think that it does prevent, but I always tell her that it's just another flu. It is just so contagious. So maybe I think that it can help really to prevent the transmission of the disease. So we have to rely on the experts, sir. And
Now,
that's what they said.
a few minutes ago, it was announced in the news that the UK has approved the dispensation of the Pfizer vaccine and that they will start injecting people by next week. The design of the vaccine is to uplift public health. Do you agree with that? To protect public health.
Yeah, that should be I think that should be their aim, so that they will sell it. I'm sure that will be part of their selling point.
Supposing the vaccine is now available in the Philippines and the president has promised to dispense it as much as possible for free to those who are poor and destitute. Will a mandatory vaccination be considered valid and constitutional?
Well, I don't think the mandatory vaccination will be valid. In fact, that will be the free one. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who will avail on that, especially the frontliners. But if to require it compulsorily, I don't think that will be valid. It will face a lot of opposition, actually, because I know there are a lot of people who doesn't want to be vaccinated. A lot of people doesn't believe in vaccination. So
But
we have to.
why is it okay to mandatorily require the wearing of a mask, but not the vaccination of people when the vaccine is available?
Well, well, of course, the fear is not the same, sir. It's the imposition of such the requirement is not that, because if something is injected to your body, that is of course people read and then they say that something will happen to them if this injection. Mask is okay. It is externally applicable only, but the vaccination, there are a lot of fears on it. There are even me, I may have second thoughts about it. Maybe I have to wait for a while before I will have myself
You will wait
vaccinated.
until everybody is vaccinated.
I don't know. Maybe I will wait for a while, even if there is really a side effect on it. I don't know yet, sir.
Let's talk about Facebook and
Okay.
social media. Can you sue Facebook if you post something which is not acceptable to what they consider to be community standards, and then they delete it, they flag you down? Can you sue Facebook for violation of freedom of speech or freedom of expression?
I don't think so, sir. I don't think you can sue them. First of all, we join Facebook for free and we agree to their terms and conditions. And their condition is that they have the right to flag it. They have the option to flag it because you enter their system, you enter their platform voluntarily. So I think they have the right also. In fact, they have also the right to screen posts, sir. I don't think we have a better right than them in insisting that our posts should
So they're
remain.
allowed to violate constitutional rights because they are giving a platform for free? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they have the right to protect their. It's a business, and they have the right to protect the things that they have created. And then if you don't want, then you can actually express your constitutional right in another way. And I don't think it is violent, because that is a very subjective thing. Is the what is a what do you think is constitutionally guaranteed may be offensive to others or offensive to them by their own standards. So I think they have the right to shut it down, sir, if they want.
So only the government can be held accountable for violating freedom of speech, but not business establishments and even media?
No, not necessarily, sir. The freedom of
One of the questions asked in the essay exams is, did the media validly cut off President Trump while he was conducting a press conference? President Trump was complaining about alleged massive electoral fraud. Now, the news media in the United States, who have been pillaring President Trump and siding with Biden, suddenly cut off coverage of the press conference of the President of the United States, allegedly because what he was saying were not truthful. The question is, did media violate the constitutional rights of President Trump?
I don't think so, sir, because there are a lot of media outlets right there, and then if it is in the position of the media that these matters should not be published live or should not be viewed by the public, I think they have that discretion. I don't think the freedom of expression is being violated there, because the freedom of expression, you have to subject yourself to the platforms or to the media or to the medium that you are going through. So
Isn't it that media is governed also by a canon of ethical standards?
yes, sir, yeah. So
You're
in-
saying media can refuse to print something which they consider to be false. That's what you're saying. And that's constitutionally permissible because according to them it is false. They can do that.
yes, I think they can do that, sir. I think they've been doing that.
So media can never be guilty of suppression of freedom of expression.
I don't think that amounts to suppression of the freedom of expression, because media is a business entity, and as you said, sir, they also have their own canons. They also have their own interpretation of what is to be published, what is good to be published, and what is not to be published. So it will be what is going to be published it would depend on them, because that is their business. But I don't think that will amount to the suppression of freedom of expression if they themselves also has edited it or has seen it to be offensive or something that need not be published.
All right. That's my last question. And thank you, Judge, and good luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Tiham. The next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Ilaw Jr.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Tony Tali.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Ano yun? Narinig sinasabi dyan. Yes, good afternoon, Judge Repoglio.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay. So you're from Dumaguete City. What vernacular do you speak?
We call our language
Cebuano.
we
Cebuano
call our language Cebuano, sir. It's the same as Cebu.
Cebuano. And Dumaguete, famous for Siliman University.
Yes, sir. That's where I studied high school and college.
Alright, could you tell us more about yourself on a professional and personal level?
Well, at the young age, sir, immediately after I passed the bar, I immediately went into practice, and I was exposed immediately to cases. I was handling cases almost every kind. I was on my first year as lawyer, and then immediately after that, I was an in-house lawyer for a group of bus companies for 3 years. So I was really I'm a person who is after I became a lawyer, I really want some action immediately. I want to practice my profession. I was so excited about it, and I want to do a lot of things. And because I was so excited to be a lawyer, then I after that I figured out that maybe I will have to. Someone invited me to the Supreme Court and said, "Yeah, this is maybe this is the right place for me." Then when I went to the Supreme Court, I was doing research. I was doing research, and I think I liked the job, and I was also thinking that this may be the kind of work that I will do maybe for the rest of my life because I like it there in the judiciary as a court attorney. That's why I applied as a judge in the municipal trial court level, sir. And then immediately, so I went back. I went back to Dumaguete because that is the place where I applied, sir. And then after that, I work hard. I work hard as a city court judge because I was very proud of being a judge at a young age, relatively young, because I was still about 34 then. So in fact, I became the executive judge of the city for a while before I was appointed as an RTC judge in 2012. I was appointed as a city judge in 2006 and then in 2012. Well, all in all, I consider myself as a person who is passionate about his job and and puts a lot of energy on the things that I do, sir.
You talk about on the professional level, about personal level.
Well, as a person here in Dumaguete, I love to exercise. I love to go out with my family. I I I do think I do things I do all things with my family, going out, going to vacation, and in my everyday, in my personal life, I always involve my family, even my extended family, my brothers and sisters, and my in-laws, sir.
What lessons did you learn in 2009 when two cases were filed against you for ignorance, alleged gross ignorance of the law, filed by certain spouses Jose and Eva Garcia,
Okay,
and the gross ignorance of the law, filed by certain Dr. Wilson Tan?
okay. That Garcia case, sir, spouses Garcia. I learned about that only when I asked for a clearance in the OCA. I was not informed about that case. Maybe it was dismissed immediately because I cannot remember if I answered. I think I was not asked to answer it. Even the second case, I was also not asked to answer about it. So and what I've read is what I know is that the case filed by Dr. Tan, and then I think the dismissal was that the actions were no, the grounds relied upon by the complainant are judicial in nature because that's the only case I remember. The other one I can't remember if I was not furnished with that copy of the decision of that. That Dr. Tan, sir, is a case wherein he was the private complainant in a criminal case. And then, as far as I can remember, I dismissed the criminal case, but I awarded, because this guy, this Dr. Tan, is into the lending business. I dismissed the criminal case, but I awarded him with civil liability in his favor against the accused. To say the criminal case was dismissed, but there was a civil liability, but I think he was not satisfied with that, and for sure, because you cannot appeal an acquittal, that's what he did, and so that's what happened, sir.
All right, Canon 2 of the Code of Judicial Conduct states that, and I quote, a judge should avoid impropriety and the appearance of impropriety in all activities. What does this mean to you?
It means that in your everyday life, in everything that you do, you must be cautious, and you must remember the fact that you are a judge. So it must it is usually hard at first if you are a first time judge on my first year, but the moment it is already embedded in you, and you know already that it becomes an instinct on your part, sir, to act as a judge with propriety in whatever you do, wherever you go. You must see to it that people who watch you will, because the people who watch you equates you with the justice system. So meaning to say that you must not only be a fair judge, you must act fairly also, so that you cannot let suspicions arise, because you have that obligation to protect that image of the judiciary, sir.
Narrative and the Supreme Court continued that persons involved in the administration of justice are expected to uphold the strictest standards of honesty and integrity in the public service. Their conduct must always be beyond reproach and circumscribed with a heavy burden of responsibility. In this regard, the Court has consistently admonished any act or omission that would violate the norm of public accountability and diminish the faith of the people in judiciary. And it continues also in Section 4 that judges shall not allow family, social, and other relationship to influence judicial conduct of judgment. Now, I bring your attention to these provisions in connection with the opposition filed by a certain attorney Siegfried Fortun.
Yes,
And it has been the practice or the policy of the Judicial Bar Council to require you to submit a written comment on the said opposition,
I will do that, sir.
point by point refutation of the such allegations of Judge Fortun. But remember, it's elementary that the judge should always avoid to being called upon to question such integrity.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, how much time do you need? You need 5 days from today, or I'll give you 7 days today, in which to file your written comment to this.
I can do it tomorrow, sir, by email, and then I also have send a hard copy, sir.
Yes, please. And how could you
Maybe
maximize
around sorry, around 5 days, sir. Thank you. Sorry.
5 days from today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. How could you, or you can email it?
I will.
And the most convenient time or a convenient way for you to comment.
I will email it to the email address that sent me that copy of his letter of opposition, sir.
All right. How could you maximize technology and social media in the judiciary?
Well, right now, we are availing, we call it the Judiciary 365. We are using it to the full extent to the civil and all criminal cases, especially for detained persons. We do, judges, we meet, and then we schedule our use of the computer, because we have a problem here with detainees, because in the jail facility they only have one for the male and one for the female computer. So that's why we have to put our slots in there. That's why it's actually delaying. We are working on something that will increase the number of computers in the jails, because right now that is our problem, because we have to put slots in there. We only have a certain amount of time of slots, so we are maximizing it. And then, of course, in the judiciary, there is now the technology is being considered as one of the means, especially in the new rules. It is being recognized now, the service of pleadings and filing and service of pleadings. It's now recognized now. So probably that's a good innovation now, especially during this time. We will try to maximize that also, sir. And we will try to, and right now there is also the e-warrant system There's actually a seminar right at this very time, but I was not able to attend. And then we will also maximize that, sir. And then so that I think it will be faster this time. We should, even if there is a pandemic, I think in everything we can, in every chaos, there is something that we can do about it. And we can even make it faster than before with the use of technology. The 365 is very effective. The Judiciary 365 is very effective, sir, in the conduct of our hearings during this time, sir.
Right. What is your take or your thoughts on judges or magistrates who like press conferences and media?
About their judgments, sir?
Because I still recall that you mentioned about the press freedom when asked by Justice Tiham.
Okay, okay. The I don't think we should be even if the case is already been decided. A judge should not be should caution himself and avoid interviews in media about the case, and so that because we as judges, we are in the judiciary, we are passive. We are there to act only if something is brought before us. If you are so active in the media, conducting interviews, not only will it take a lot of your time, but it will also equate you, equate you to the politicians, and who are always on the media, who always speaks on the public. So I have not tried it yet. I haven't allowed myself to be interviewed in the media. I know once when there was a lawyer that was assassinated when he went out of my it was an investigation, and I was interviewed by the media, and that's it, sir.
When was that?
That was in he was a Cebu lawyer, sir. He was a lawyer in Cebu. I think that was a famous one when he was actually when he went from the barge from Dumaguete, when he went to the barge going to Cebu, and when he was traveling in Cebu along Dalagite, he was ambushed by pick up the, and then he was from my court at that time. He was a lawyer from Cebu. He was a famous lawyer in Cebu. I forgot his name. So I was interviewed after that by the ABCBN. So what were happened right before he went out of the court, and that's the only time I had interview with the media.
So you're applying for what vacant positions only in the Court of Appeals? Am I correct?
Only the 6 positions of the Court of Appeals, sir.
What are your accomplishments in your court station that makes you worthy of the promotion applied for?
Well, I always believe in the famous line that justice delayed is justice denied. I always make my cases go fast. I always dispose cases fast. Yesterday, I learned, I know my court docket is only around 93 cases for my own court, sir. And for my other court, which I am the acting judge, I have around 82 cases. So I think that is a big accomplishment. I never tried asking for an extension of time to submit to render a decision. I think that is big accomplishment, and if ever I am so lucky, I would like to apply that also in the higher court.
So RTC branch 38, your caseload now is how many?
93, sir. As of the end of November, sir.
And 82 of the other court.
Yes, sir.
What is judicial temperament, and how have you exhibited it in your everyday performance of your daily functions?
Well, it refers to your attitude as a judge. You must be considerate to the people that comes to your court. You must be you must not be you must act professionally as a judge, and you must be an example to the others that it is a you must exemplify the requirement that it is a noble profession. You are there as a magistrate, and that you are cautious and aware of your functions as a judge, so that others will see the court as a place where they can go to when they have problems. It's a place where they can have their problems solved, and it's a place where they can have their conflicts solved also. Yeah.
All right, let's go to your judicial philosophy or judicial reform in general. What is one victory that the judiciary has led for the people for the past 5 years? And why do you say so?
What is the judicial victory, sir? What is it?
Yeah, yes.
Excuse
What
me.
is one victory the judiciary has led for the people the past 5 years?
Well, I think the judiciary now uh, is more concerned of the people. It's more reactive to the needs of the people, sir. There is a feeling that especially the rules that are being promulgated, it actually the small claims. When I was with the uh, first level court, we were the first judges to implement the small claims court. The public were really satisfied about it, because the first is that they don't have to get a lawyer. I can feel that they're really very happy about it. That is a victory for the people. That the continuous trial, the judicial affidavit rules, I think the courts are now very responsive to the needs of the people, because I really think that the courts are not made for judges and not made for lawyers, but are made for the people. So during that last 5 years, there's been a lot of innovations and improvements made by the Supreme Court, and we were the frontliners in the implementation.
All right, coming from the Dumaguete City, how can the judiciary bring attention to the issue of climate change?
Well, in our place is actually a place where we are well forested. There's still a lot of forest in our place. There's a lot of people here who are active in preservation of nature. We are here, especially the judiciary can be an example of this. If we like the use of paper, sir, we have to minimize the use of paper. We should use technology instead. We should minimize the use of plastic, and we should be aware of we should condemn those who are doing illegal things which hurt the environment, sir. So I am in a place where the people here are very conscious of it. We are that's why we have a lot of tourists here because of that. And we are also very aware of our responsibilities in the society, so that we can address climate change.
And how will you address the public perception that there is justice for sale?
Well, I heard about it, but the on my part, I have to show it that it is not true. I mean, it's not as big as it is. Maybe there is something, but going on, I don't know. But I have on my part, I will have to show it to my family, to the people that you encounter every day, that as a judge, we are here to help you. We are not a like those who are the justice is for sale. We must gain their trust. The people must gain their trust again by setting an example, sir, and showing to them that those who commit those things are really being punished, and something is being done about it, and that these are not left by the Supreme Court to go to go without being punished, sir, and that the judiciary is still a place of people with a noble profession.
All right, Judge. How do I call you? From Judge Repoglio. What's your nickname, please? Sorry.
Volt, sir. Volt from Voltaire.
Okay. May gulay. I say sorry. All right. How honest are you?
Well, I am. How honest I am, sir? I'm always honest. I believe that is one thing that I have to be if I have to be a judge. Otherwise, I have no business of being a judge if I am not honest. If you want to be a judge, you have to be honest. You have to be honest on all the things that you do. It's the best policy. That's the common. That's what we say about it. But if you want to be a judge, you have to be honest. And I think I am up to it. I am complying it in my everyday life. And I owe it to my family. I owe it to my profession. I owe it to the gifts the blessings that I received that in my life, that I have to be honest.
All right, my last question, Judge. If you could invent something, what would it be and why?
Well, we are in a third world country, sir. So I would like to think that it should be something about food. So because every day we see people who can't eat. It's something that is very important to every family. It's something that if you don't have it, some people commit crime. It is something that if you don't have it, it will affect relationships. It is something that if you have it, it will improve your life. On the other hand, so that is why if can invent something that can produce food in a very cheap way, like if you just press a button, we'll give food to those who need it. So anything that involves about giving food, especially to those who need it. So,
will you say that is an invention?
yes,
not an invention. It's a new one. It's not an improved utility or model.
And an invention that because something that is novel, sir, that is something that is that can help the things that I said, meaning to say it will be easy for us to distribute food, to give away. That is it's hard. That is very hard to think of. That's why I think that would be a novel idea.
All right, last question.
Okay, sir.
Explain briefly the doctrine of primary jurisdiction.
Well, in the hierarchy of courts, there are courts that has that exercises concurrent jurisdiction. Now, meaning to say, even if the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, or the Regional Trial Court has concurrent jurisdiction, it has to be filed in the lower court as the court with a primary jurisdiction. It also this is differentiated from the word exclusive jurisdiction, which has the court which the case should first be filed, sir. So in the hierarchical order of courts, usually the court will give it to the court with a primary jurisdiction, sir.
That was my last question. Thank you, Judge, and we'll be waiting for your commitment, solemn pledge of submitting your point-by-point refutation of the allegations of Attorney Fortune. Okay?
I will do that, sir.
Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Judge Ilaw. The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Your brother is Felimon of Tanhay, RTC Tanhay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How old is he?
He is around, I'm not sure, 55 maybe. 55.
55 years old there. You are 49 or 50?
Yes, I'm 49, sir.
49. Has he applied to an appellate court?
No, my brother is a process server, sir.
Process server. Oh, he's just a process server.
He's a
In
process
Tanhay.
server. Yes, sir.
Oh, because it stated there artist, so I thought he was a judge. Okay, no problem. While you were with the Supreme Court, Office of the Court Attorney, under Attorney Dino, what cases did you handle?
Well, mostly at first it's about administrative cases for judges and other employees, because some cases in the office of the court administrators are being forwarded to us. Sometimes about the issue about retirement, and then sometimes it's about everything, sir, because sometimes we also have cases forwarded to us from the NBank that they want us to draft the decisions, sir, and write legal opinions.
Okay. Those coming from the OCA are mostly administrative cases.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, yes, sir.
What cases did you handle which came from the office of a justice?
If I may say, sir, one time I drafted one of the decisions of for Justice Vitog at that time. It was a rape case. It was it was a rape case that during that time there was a death penalty, sir, and then we actually lowered the penalty to reclusion perpetua. That's one thing I can remember.
It was you recommended the lowering of the penalty.
We recommended the lowering of the penalty, sir.
Okay. What else? What cases? About constitutional cases.
It was a long time ago, but
did you handle constitutional cases when you were with Attorney Dino?
I think so, sir, but I cannot remember anymore because usually Attorney Dino, at the time of Chief Justice Davide, she was always called by the Chief Justice to give legal opinions, especially on matters that are quite important, or there are doctrines that they will reverse. Because when I was there, I was then the junior. I was just a junior court attorney. My work goes to.
They were never assigned. Those important cases were never assigned to you.
I can't remember, sir, but if it is really a constitutional issue, but it's the choice of Attorney Dino who will do
what
the
was
draft.
the most important case that you had when you were there?
It's very.
Which what case which you can consider as significant, which you cannot forget?
That's the one, sir. That's the only one I can remember. The one that because it was a death penalty, and we successfully recommended for the lowering of the penalty to reclusion perpetua, because we saw the final decision by Justice Vito, and he followed our recommendations.
I see. Do you teach law?
Yes, sir.
Where?
At Siliman, not now, not anymore. When I
what did you teach before?
Special proceedings, sir.
Special proceedings.
Yes, sir.
You stopped already?
We stopped because of because when drug cases were already raffled to all courts, so we were so burdened by the drug cases, plus the fact of possible threat, sir, because when you go out of the school, it's already nighttime. So most judges actually stop teaching.
I see. What else? How do you keep yourself abreast of the latest laws and jurisprudence?
Well, basically, when I render decisions, sir, I take a look at the Supreme Court e-library. I think when we enter there, we are recorded, so it can be seen if we are using the e-library. So that's the basic, and that's our basic tool, sir, because we have access to the Supreme Court e-library, and we go there whenever we make research on before drafting a decision.
Okay. Do you read cases on matters where you do not have a case yet in court? Because you are of Court of General Jurisdiction, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Have you come across the term rape shield rule?
Rape shield.
Rule. That is covered also by the amendments, new amendments in evidence.
Rape shield rule. Sorry, I don't know, sir.
You don't know? Oh. What is the crime of economic abuse?
Well, it is a crime under RA 9262 when you deprive your spouse of the conjugal money, meaning to say you are depriving him from the use of your money, like
You're depriving him. So the spouse is a man. Yes,
is her, sir. I'm depriving her of the use of your money, so that that is an abuse on the part of the husband, Your Honor, because by doing so, you are abusing your authority to in the use of the money, and if the wife cannot use it, so he will be emotionally distressed.
Suppose it's the other way around.
Well,
you suffer a stroke. Then your wife is the one earning. Then, because of her economic clout, she deprive you of the basic needs. Cannot work. Can you file a criminal case against her for such crime of economic abuse?
Well, the provisions of the violence against women are only designed for women and their children. So probably there will be another action for that. I'm sure there is another action for that because if you deprive a person from a conjugal property, certainly I can file cases. You can go to the court and enforce such right, Your Honor.
Suppose the property is not conjugal. She's the only one earning.
Well, salary is conjugal, Your Honor.
Salary is conjugal. So you will assert that.
Yes, sir.
You can file a case, right?
Yes, sir.
But you can file a civil case for support, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mutual support.
But can you file a criminal case for economic abuse?
I think that is not covered by that principle, sir, under the provisions of RA 9262, sir.
Not covered?
I think so, sir, because
that is not discriminatory.
I don't think so. I don't think so, sir, because as
Why?
men we are perceived to be the breadwinners of that is actually the premise of that law, maybe, but as men.
The feminist will disagree with you. They should be treated equally.
But not on this provision because this is advantageous on their part, sir.
Can they file? Can a man file? Can he question the constitutionality of the law because it is violative of the Equal Protection Clause?
Well, this law's been around for a while, but the requirements of equal protection law is that equal protection clause is that there
Yes.
must be a substantial distinction.
Yes.
And I think there is a substantial distinction
What is
because
the substantial distinction which is acceptable to the feminist?
it is acceptable to the feminist because as men we are perceived to be stronger than women, and then we are perceived to be the breadwinners, and that there is a substantial distinction there because if you are a man and you are deprived and you are forcing yourself and by asking your wife for money, it's that is for me shameful. So there is a substantial distinction that you should not feel bad about it if you are deprived of your money, especially that is not yours.
What are the requisites of a substantial distinction?
Substantial distinction is that there must be the requisites of equal protection, sir, or the substantial distinction. The substantial distinction only.
What did I ask? No, I'm sorry.
Uh,
Valid classification. I'm sorry, I'm sleepy.
Valid what, sir?
Valid classification.
Okay.
So as to
in
make
order-
it an exception to the general rule.
There must be a substantial distinction. Second is that it must be germane to the purpose of the law. Meaning
There are four.
The third is that it must not apply to existing conditions only, and the fourth is that it must apply equally to the members of the same class.
Okay. What is the test to determine reasonability of the distinction?
The reasonability of the distinction.
Yes, there is a test to determine reasonability. It's in the case of Mosqueda versus the banana planters of Davao.
Yeah, I think I have read that, sir. The first is the rational scrutiny.
No. That is the levels of scrutiny. There are three. Oh.
That is not the one, sir. That is in the same.
No. You are answering a different question.
The levels of test in that case, sir.
No. The levels of scrutiny. You mentioned them. Intermediate scrutiny.
Yeah.
That is not my question. That is an answer to another question.
Okay, what is
my
the
question? Is what is the test in determining the reasonability of the distinction?
The reasonability of the distinction is in that case the Supreme Court enumerated the.
There is only my question is what is the test to determine reasonability? What did the Supreme Court call that test in that case which you have read?
I have read that case, sir, but I forgot because what was enumerated there are the requirements of the equal protection. The test must be reasonable and it must not be oppressive for purposes of due process.
We know what is the test.
Sorry, sir, I forgot about it, but I have read the case, sir.
Anyway, you have read the case. It's important. It's the means end test.
Means end test, yeah.
You remember?
I remember, sir.
You remember? Okay.
Yes, sir.
You're applying only in the Court of Appeals, right?
Yes, sir. Only the 6 positions of the
So
Court of
I
Appeals.
will not ask you tax cases.
Hopefully not.
No, I will not. Oh. Hmm. In the Court of Appeals, there are three categories wherein the court is allowed to receive evidence. What are those three categories, main categories?
Well, in actions for in a petitions for certiorari, prohibition, mandamus, and quo warranto, in actions for annulment of judgments of the regional trial court, sir, and then on petitions for new trial, petitions for new trial when the Court of Appeal in civil cases, when in petitions for new trial when the court grants the same on the ground of newly discovered evidence, and then in criminal
Three.
cases.
Yes, those three. How do you lump them? Do you lump them, and what do you call them?
Which one, three, sir?
The first three that you mentioned.
The first three is, and the first one is under Rule 46. The first one is under Rule 47, and then, and the first one is under Rule 46 and 47. The second one is for annulment.
In a way, they are under classification of
these are cases
exercise of original jurisdiction. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
not
sir.
necessarily exclusive.
No, not exclusive, sir.
Can be concurrent, so they can receive evidence.
No, sir.
Right, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Annulment of judgment. What do you know of the annulment of judgment?
In the regional trial court, an annulment of judgment can be filed in the Court of Appeals within 4 years if it is based on extrinsic fraud, and if it is based on other grounds, it must not be within the period wherein the estoppel or prescription has already set in.
What are the other grounds?
For like mistake or
you remember fame, fraud, accident, mistake, and excusable negligence. Were you referring to them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's an enumeration, sir.
So now you remember.
It's very hard to. Yes, sir.
You now remember form.
In the College of Law,
sir. You can file an annulment of judgment for fame in the Court of Appeals.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, you can file an annulment of judgment in the Court of Appeals, sir. Under
for fame.
Yeah, under Rule 47, I think.
Yes, it's Rule 47. What are the grounds? You said fame, and what is the other one? Wherein you even mentioned the period, 4 years.
For 4 years if it is based on extrinsic fraud.
Extrinsic fraud, 4 years.
Yes.
And when it is based on fame,
it should be it should not be filed if estoppel and prescription has already set in, sir.
Anyway, there are only two grounds: lack of jurisdiction and extrinsic fraud.
Yeah.
You agreed with me when I was wrong. I was just asking you about fame. Where do you invoke fame? In what proceedings? In what remedy?
Yeah, for relief of judgment, sir.
Relief of judgment.
Yes, sir.
When do you file relief of judgment?
You can file relief from judgment of the regional trial court within 60 days from the time you learned of the judgment, and within 6 months from the time it is entered. I think it is under
From entry, from 6 months from entry, right?
from entry of judgment. Sir.
Yeah. When you call, if there is entry, what do you mean?
Meaning to say it is already final, sir.
Oh, why do they call it entry of judgment?
Because it is entered in the book of judgment, sir.
Oh, it says, you know that you're from the Supreme Court. Oh, okay. What is intrinsic fraud? Before we go to other matters.
Intrinsic fraud is when of the proceedings, sir, of the proceedings as a ground for
what is intrinsic fraud?
When the documents that were presented were
okay. To make it easy for you, you distinguish it from extrinsic fraud.
Well, extrinsic fraud refers to matters wherein, like, the party has been deprived in the presentation of evidence, like he is being fooled, like he is being.
What is intrinsic?
So intrinsic is
during the trial.
It's during the trial. Maybe it refers to the.
Why do you use maybe?
It refers to the fact that the evidence presented were false and were clearly not valid documents, sir.
So what makes it different from the other?
Well,
essentially, what makes it different from the other?
Essentially, the extrinsic fraud is the ground for a relief of judgment.
Extrinsic fraud.
Yes. There's no mention of an intrinsic fraud.
And fraud. What is the essence of intrinsic fraud? Why is it different from extrinsic fraud? In both cases, they are called frauds. Oh. How do you distinguish one from the other? Hindi mo tinuro sa when you taught special proceedings?
Actually forgot about it, sir, but I will
You
try.
forgot what you taught?
The extrinsic fraud is a ground, while intrinsic fraud is no longer a ground for relief of judgment.
It is a intrinsic fraud is a ground, and extrinsic fraud is not a ground.
No.
You got it mixed actually. Nahilo ka na. You're hungry. You got it mixed actually. Intrinsic fraud is not a ground. Why?
Yes. Intrinsic fraud is not a ground, Your Honor, because these matters were already being treated in the trial. So these matters were already being thrashed out, and the opportunity to question it was already there.
In other words, it is the very issue. The fraud is the very issue in the trial.
Yeah,
right?
it was already being taken up, and it cannot be any more raised, especially in a petition for relief of judgment.
Okay. What is the Berry rule?
Berry rule. I don't know that, sir.
It's the newly discovered evidence rule. If you discover an evidence freshly after judgment.
Okay.
What is the remedy?
The remedy is for a new trial, sir.
New trial.
New trial.
What are the grounds for new trial?
Is newly discovered.
Only newly discovered evidence.
Newly discovered evidence and extrinsic fraud, sir.
Are there other grounds?
I think there are only Two, sir. Extrinsic fraud
Only
and
2 or not 5? I'm helping you.
okay. I think I would like to go for 5. The fame, sir. I think it was the fame.
Oh, I thought there were grounds for relief from judgment.
I'm mixed up already, sir. But anyway, one of it is the newly discovered evidence, sir, and
Yes,
and
that
then
was,
it must be
what are
some
the other grounds? What are the other grounds?
fraud, accident, mistake
Again,
for relief of
you
judgment.
said that they are available in cases or in petitions for relief of judgment.
Yes, they are available for petitions for relief of judgment, sir.
Yes, are they available for new trial?
For new trial, it's only newly discovered evidence.
Yun na lang.
Yes, sir.
Yun na lang.
May isa pa. I
What
forgot.
else? Well, I'll tell you, fame is also, there are also grounds for motions for new trial.
Okay.
Where else are they used aside from relief from judgment and motion for new trial?
They can be used also for
When when can you invoke them?
on petitions for annulment of judgment, sir.
Oh, you are deprived of appeal.
Okay.
You remember now?
Okay. You're already when you're deprived of appeal, and that is the only remedy available left.
Okay. Okay, a person came to you and he said he signed a document, an agreement, but it does not reflect uh, the true intention of the parties.
Mhm.
So he asked you to file an action to reform the instrument. Can you file? What is the remedy used? Can you avail of what remedy?
For reformation of instruments, sir.
Yes.
The remedy for filing a document
For
where it does
reformation of instrument, I'll give you a tip. You can also file an action for quieting of title under that procedure. You did not teach it. Forgot.
for rescission of contract, sir.
Reformation. I asked reformation.
Reformation of contracts.
The other one I mentioned is you can file also an action for quieting of title under such procedure. Anyway, we have no more time. It's for declaratory relief.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it.
You got it. You taught it, that subject?
I remember it, sir, because
remember it. I see.
because I've read about it. Yeah.
Declaratory relief.
Yeah, we have
Right?
something. We have something like that
You
actually here.
you question a law. You
Will
question the terrorist law. Will
Yeah.
you file a petition? A petition for declaratory relief, right?
Yes,
Suppose
sir.
you are questioning the constitutionality of an ordinance. Where do you file it?
Well, you have to file it in the regional trial court, sir.
Regional trial court also?
Yes, sir.
Not in the municipality, which is not that it. I mean to say, not in the lower court.
It should be in the regional trial court, sir. Or
Are you sure?
If it is an ordinance, I think it should be in the municipal
Oh,
trial court. It's only a
The ordinance is jaywalking. Like, I'll help you. You make decisions.
because a declaratory relief must be filed in the lower court.
Oh, well, lower court. There are
So
two lower courts. In your
so
level, the other one is lower. Oh, you question the constitutionality of the ignorance. I'm sorry, of the ordinance.
I think it should be in the regional trial court, sir.
Regional trial court.
Yes, sir.
Oh, supposed to question the constitutionality of the law, and you are charged with jaywalking. Then you can you question the constitutionality of the law in the MTC?
No, sir. It should be in
No?
the regional. No,
Regional
sir.
trial court.
Yes, sir.
But you have already stated it, diba? The essence of declaratory relief is that you file it before any violation thereof. If you have violated already, oh, you remember? You're confused.
I was still
You have,
thinking of.
you
I
have,
was still
you have,
thinking of where
you
to
have,
file it, sir.
ay, sabi ko nga, there was he was charged with
I forgot the facts that were
Ah.
injected, sir. I forgot to
Oh.
notice the facts that you injected before that, sir.
What did I inject?
That after violation, sir.
So sabi ko nga, you make a distinction.
Okay,
Before
sorry.
violation, you question it, you file a case of repetition for declaratory relief before the regional trial court. But after you have violated it, doon na lang sa MTC. Right? Do not agree with me if I'm wrong.
No, it should be filed in the regional trial court, sir.
Also,
Yeah, but yes, sir.
in the regional trial court, you file a petition for relief of judgment, di ba? You file it also there because you're questioning the constitutionality. The difference there is that in an action for declaratory relief, there is still no violation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that will be all, Judge. Good luck. You are excused.
Thank you very
Think
much, sir.
you better teach again, so you
I
will
would like-
remember those things.
I will do that, sir. When
Thank,
Sige, thank you very much, Judge.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
thank you, Judge Repoglio.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor, Justice Mendoza. That concludes today's public panel interviews. The next public panel interview is scheduled on Friday, Your Honor, December 4.
December 4.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.